What's good, family? Welcome to a Minor Hoops podcast show with the freshest opinions and views on the world's most beautiful game. I'm your host, Greg, and I'm here with the homies, the squad, Dunkman Keith, TK, B, and we got a whole new season. We got a whole new season in front of us. All the predictions we had, toss them out. They don't matter anymore.
I was right.
They don't matter.
You was right till you was wrong.
My predictions.
I'm not wrong yet.
Even when you're wrong, you're still right.
The season not over.
So even when I'm right, I'm still wrong. Well, I could have been right because I'm wrong. Because I could have been still right.
It's over. It's over. We do not care.
Who's eliminated from playoff contention right now?
The Mets.
All right.
They're like the 5th seed.
For how long?
For right now.
For right now.
Yep,
This man.
for right now. So what we talking about?
He said the season ended today. They're in the playoffs.
So what we talking about?
He's not wrong.
I'm not wrong.
Oh man, you gonna put it on FanDuel? You think they can
Make
win a
the
series? Win a series?
Win
a series. This team, they're 5th seed. You bet on it. That's your predictions. Would you FanDuel it? Would you FanDuel it? Right?
Win a series.
Would you FanDuel?
You had to win the
I don't
chip.
even know who they will play right now. Who's the 4th seed? I don't even know.
The Cavaliers.
I'm putting all the money on the 4th seed. All the money. I would empty my bank account. I would go sell everything that I have. I would do whatever I need to do, and I'm gonna put it all on the Cavs.
Cam Thomas can't get it done.
You love Cam Thomas.
And shout out Cam Thomas.
That's your man.
Like, yeah, Boo Will legend, but I'm not gonna sit here in front. Like
They got Mikal Bridges now. Cam Johnson.
They got a lot of good wings over there. They gonna play some good defense.
They brought Spencer Dinwiddie back.
Vet point guard, 20-point scorer.
Ben Simmons gonna lead them.
Nick
to the
Claxton
promised
still
land.
hooping.
Yep.
Ben Simmons just gotta play his role, man.
Is he the only max on that team now?
Yes.
And he has to play his role. Hey. And you're asking me, are they going to win a playoff series if it started today?
Hey, I told you he's a light-skinned Draymond Green.
I was going to say Cavs and 5s, but it's 4.
Maybe Ben Simmons was just waiting for the opportunity to be successful without any other superstars around. Maybe that's what it was.
I feel like that's like loser procrastination talk. Like
Let's lose later.
like like I'm losing now because I'm gonna win later. I just gotta wait till the situation right. What was that one skit and like that song Star 67 by Drake? It had Wayne on it and he was like these rappers these days they always need a beat, they need a producer.
Just
like
rap.
what is you doing? Like go in there with the clips, the ammo.
Bars.
Like, yeah, that's how I feel like Ben Simmons is. He's supposed to be a rapper, but he's treating basketball like it's R&B.
Wow.
Yeah, it's mad light skin over there,
Wow.
and it's no offense, B, but it's just not.
Wow.
It's just not. It's not it.
Hey, yo, we're back.
Whoa.
We're back, man. For those who don't know, the NBA season is brand new. The trade deadline happened. People have been moved. People have been shifted. And we're going to get into all of that. Also, we got to highlight the new all-time leading scorer in the NBA, LeBron James, which we all expected would happen this season, but he did it this past week versus OKC Thunder.
Black History Month.
So shout out to LeBron in that. We'll get into all of that as well. Let's begin. Let's begin with Brooklyn. We hit on some of these already. Kyrie, in Kyrie fashion, woke up one morning
And chose violence.
and was like, that tweet I had in the drafts, go ahead. Go ahead and send that. Send that now.
This is so calculated.
Send that tweet right now, bro.
This is.
This man woke up, was like, hey, tell them I want out.
I don't think he woke up. I think he woke up ready. It's when he left the meeting is when he had that thought though.
Fact.
As soon as they were like,
Yeah, we're
so
not giving you.
wait, I only get the $200 million if we win a chip. Y'all are putting stipulations on a contract for me.
That wasn't
Then
one
he
of-
walked out.
That wasn't one of the stipulations. It was that you show up to work.
All the reports I saw, it was definitely levels and stipulations of winning attached to that contract.
Oh, absolutely. Like there's always stipulations and bonuses to
But
winning.
bonuses, that's the differences. It's like they weren't.
The main stipulation was you show up to work.
Hey, I didn't see it. I didn't write it. I'm gonna say from the things that I saw, what the main problems was that was reported, and a lot of it had to do was the attachment to winning. So I don't know what the numbers necessarily look like. I imagine that it was something where if he wanted 200, I think it was 198 specifically.
Yeah.
You would only be able to get that through bonuses. So while he wanted his contract to be 4 years, 198, they were like, you're going to be able to get your 198 if you do X, Y, and Z. From my understanding from all the reports that I saw. Mm-hmm. And since we're a podcast, I'm going to give him my opinion. That's complete BS. I believe so. I don't think any player should be held to that level because there's just so much that's wrong with that. I think winning is extremely important and should be factored into contracts, but not like this.
You want to know something that I think happened?
I'm interested.
I think Joe Tsai was like definitely give him this.
Yeah, for sure.
I want him to say he wants out.
But they've been having that ego pride battle.
Very much so. Joe Tsai was like, hey, send him the most heavy incentive contract we could think of.
One of those Darrell Revis joints when he put everything on himself that one year.
Yeah, let it add all up to like whatever number he wants it to add up to.
$72 million.
Yeah, let it add up to whatever number he wanted to add up to, but let it be all incentive laden, and we're gonna see what he does. Just so he and I think they pushed him into
I think he handled it in a mature way, to be honest. This situation, this very specific situation. And just saying, actually, I'm out for those negotiations, off of things that he didn't like, off of the fact that it was still unresolved tension that was always going to be unresolved between him and the front office of the Nets. We had a conversation earlier this year about whether the Nets are even going to finish. When we talked about whether, with Kyrie on that roster, whether he was ever even going to come back to the team.
Yep.
When we were talking about if I had to rearrange my picks. And I was like, if he plays, I'm still going to keep it the same. But in fairness, there's been a lot of times where it felt like Kyrie, you just woke up and felt any kind of way. This time I felt like he woke up and he was like, all right, I guess today's the day we're going to have this meeting and I have all of this ready to go in the tuck. So, and I think management, honestly, I think they handled it in a way that was fair too. Even if you wanted to have a contract and present it to Kyrie where you wanted to kind of force him to force himself out of Brooklyn, I don't think anything necessarily disrespectful happened during this process. I'm fine with them not sending him to the Lakers, and we can get to that as well. Yeah. That's famous for organizations. I mean, we praise Popovich for doing it, not sending you to your preferred destination. Yeah. Especially a team that I'm supposed to be competing against. Now, granted, if you were going to trade Kyrie, you're probably not going to be thinking of a Laker-Nets matchup in a finals. But at that time, I'm not sure if they were knowing they were going to trade KD. That's out of my business. But all that being said, I think this was actually one of the most non-dramatic Kyrie events. Because I think going into this deadline, I was 50-50 whether he was going to be a Net anyway.
That's where I disagree. While we all knew Kyrie was going to send this. Once we realized
it was like 50-50 whether he was going.
Once we realized Kyrie was not going to get what he wanted, and we had a feeling like this could happen, whatever, cool. This is still dramatic because you left the team that had Kevin Durant on it.
He left the team before they had LeBron James on it. I don't but it clearly it don't matter. And to some people it may, and other people's it don't. Some things matter more.
It matters because of the rhetoric that Kyrie constantly uses that suggests he wants to do something.
Basketball related? Yeah, I feel you.
Like, I'm a leader. I want to do this. I want to talk out a contract extension. We're going to try and win a ring. Da-da-da-da.
Yeah. Like, I want to be able to have influence in the front offices in terms of making player decisions.
The rhetoric he uses suggests, I'm here, Keith.
Yeah.
I'm here.
I should be here for a good long time.
For a
good long time.
He was here. Yeah. He did all of those things.
He didn't do all those things. That's what the cap is.
I'm talking about for this last instance, right? He went, he was like, all right, let's talk about the contract so I can be here for a long time. Yeah. They gave him a bad contract, and he was like, I've tried to do the things.
Yeah,
he did not try to do the things. I was about to
say, since that forced apology, Kyrie has actually stepped up in terms of there hasn't been a major kind of incident or anything like that. Now, granted, we're talking about a small window of opportunity.
Wasn't long, but it
2 months, 2.5 months,
maybe
max. Yeah, max.
I mean, but look at the beginning of the season for Kyrie.
Max.
Like, look at how much he did in the first 2 months.
But in that span, he was still hooping in that first 2 months. Correct, Keith. And in that span, when Kevin Durant was playing, they were looking like, they got up to second in the East.
Yep.
So we're
what?
We're gonna acknowledge, like, yes, there's been a lot of bad, but there was effort and attempts.
Yeah.
And this last very specific attempt.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I think, like I said, organization is still fine, even if they pressured to try to push him to ask for a trade. I think that's fair game. Because there was so much irreparable damage.
Yeah.
Like, it was just too much already.
For sure.
Well, I agree with all of that, right? I agree with all of that. I also understand the context, or I see the context in this way, in terms of this man asked this guy, one of the best players in the world, to join him in Brooklyn to go try and win a ring. This has been your best chance outside of
Cleveland.
Outside of Cleveland has been your best chance. And honest to God,
Are you sure? Because I still think him, Jason Tatum, and Jaylen Brown would have been something special if they worked it out.
I don't know, man. Second year guys, like,
they were second year guys.
I don't know.
If he would have been patient and waited, maybe so.
They were going to beat the Warriors, go ahead, but I'm not putting my money on that.
But this was his best in terms of what we were seeing, in terms of the way they were playing. Yes, Kevin Durant just went on MCL strain, and so he's been sitting out for a while now. A little bit. But everything we saw from Kevin Durant, in terms of his efficiency, everything we're seeing from Kyrie and his efficiency, and then in terms of Nick Claxton stepping up, in terms of Cam Thomas starting to show promise as a role player and fitting in terms of Seth Curry, Joe Harris,
Warren getting added to the rotation when he was getting healthy.
Yuri Watanabe.
Everything seemed like we could actually do something.
But that's everything on basketball paper.
Yes.
This is always way more than just basketball for Kyrie and the Nets. That's why it always moved like this. And that's why it never made sense. Because it was kind of like that story that I heard about Vlade Divac not drafting Luka. He went with Marvin Bagley because apparently he had some beef with Luka's dad back in the day or something like that. That level of pettiness is idiotic and has no place in, like, basketball. Like, that's not, like, objectively speaking, no disrespect, Marvin Bagley, we all know who the correct choice is.
So can you say that Kyrie made an irrational decision based off whatever morals he was trying to stand on in that moment?
I don't think I would call it irrational.
It's mad irrational.
I think it depends on how you perceive it and what you're looking at it. If you're looking at it from a purely basketball aspect, then yes, I agree with you 100%. If you're looking at it like this is my job and occupation, then no, I can't say that. I can't say that I'm going to walk into a building with a man that I detest, a man who forced me to give what was it, like $100,000, I don't know what insane price tag it was for these charities and things like that. Forced to put up apology that I had to keep up there. Just got this kind of treatment that we all agreed was nasty.
It was
and
nasty.
If I'm going to say I do not have a relationship with the owner of this franchise, then yes, I can say that it is a rational decision, even if it goes against everything in terms of basketball logic, to say, no, I'm doing this for the health of myself or my mental, even if the world disagrees. Because he has the right to leave. Now, granted, do I support it basketball? No. If we're talking strictly basketball, it's stupid. You had everything you needed there to win a chip. If you're adding in all of these other factors, and we're going to sit here and say, like, oh, no, you would never leave a good-paying job because you don't like your boss, well, y'all got more willpower than me. But shout out to my boss. But if I didn't like him, I would have been gone. I actually told him that.
Yeah.
I told him that a couple weeks ago.
Couldn't remember who said it. They said people can't allow Kyrie. People have to allow Kyrie, my bad. People have to allow Kyrie to do these things because his talent suggests that we have to take a chance on this. Like, his talent is too superb for us not to at least risk.
Yeah, that's how it's always been in history with sports.
And so,
in life period.
Yeah,
and
in life
like,
period.
The more talented you are, something the more willing people are to put up with.
Each and every time, yo.
And so
that's a fact.
This is just going to be the case with him. Like, I don't think he's staying in Dallas. And for those, and we haven't even gotten to the actual trade.
He didn't ask to go to Dallas. Like, if he leaves, it's not like he betrayed Dallas.
No, he didn't. But that's enough.
That's gonna be the narrative, though. It's like Kyrie goes to another team. Like people are gonna try to spin that.
I don't think it should be narrative because I think everyone understands that he wanted to be in LA, and Joe Tsai made sure that he was not going to LA.
I hope so.
Like I don't think that'll be the case.
I think he's gonna go to LA.
But I do think it'll be a thing of like you looking at another all-world partner that you're just gonna walk away from to go join a 38-year-old LeBron. What would be 39-year-old LeBron?
Okay, 39-year-old LeBron. What 30-year-old AD?
Yeah.
D'Angelo. You're gonna have to move some things around.
D'Angelo would have to go.
Yeah, but you're gonna have to move some things around. But we're not gonna act like him going there and then whatever they shuffle in the background isn't gonna be immediately a better title contender than what the Mavericks are probably gonna be able to put together around Luka and Kyrie. And that's
in the offseason?
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, you went and got Kyrie. That's a good first step. Now you just gotta go start getting. You like Christian Wood, like.
They're not even playing him now, and they have him. So clearly, they don't like Christian Wood.
I think
he's playing. He's just not starting.
Bro, I don't even know what minutes he's averaging, but in my personal opinion, he should be touching at least like 32 minutes a game for the Mavs. And I think at one point in the year, it was like 21. So I don't know what it is now, but that is a vast difference between what I expected to see and what actually it was.
Yeah, so the trade is this. Mavericks send...
He's averaging 28 minutes a night.
So, all right, they went middle. They went middle. I ain't gonna be too mad anymore. All right, respect.
Mavericks get Kyrie Irving, Markieff Morris. Brooklyn gets Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, 2029 first-round pick, and 2 second-round picks. In terms of the next trade, and this is why I said this was definitely premeditated exodus between the two of them. Because Kyrie was like, "Hey, I'm out. Go ahead and send your tweet too, bro. Send it.
Send your tweet too.
Send yours too.
Send yours too.
And
I'm about to put in my 2 weeks. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
You gotta let the homie know.
If you leaving a job with your homie, like your homie works, you gotta be like, hey yo, my time, hey, I'm about to be out.
Yeah, don't even tell him. Like, you gonna go in and I'm gonna wait like an hour and a half, right? You go in before lunch, I'm gonna go in after lunch. We just gonna mess up the whole day. The whole day. Like, you thought you gonna be able to prepare, like, oh, I'm gonna go out and get some good Italian. No, you're not. Yeah. You'll come right back here and now your second best player is, oh, well, it went in reverse, but whatever.
Yeah. Phoenix Suns got Kevin Durant.
They did.
And TJ Warren.
Yep.
The big winners of the trade deadline.
Brooklyn Nets got Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, shout out to Cam, Jay Crowder, and 4 first-round picks and a 2028 pick swap. Now, that Jay Crowder situation, we'll talk about that later because he is not a Phoenix Sun.
Yeah, they flipped him for, five second-round picks?
To the Bucks.
So, that's that. All right, we understand Brooklyn is now in rebuild mode. Let's turn the page. The Phoenix Suns have Kevin Durant, Chris Paul, Devin Booker, and DeAndre Ayton.
Yep. Sounds great.
Do y'all believe in this?
Yes.
Do y'all believe in this as a championship team this year or next year?
I have to. I think if you're saying next year, I think they're definitely they're going to go into next year, if healthy, as title contenders and top 3 favorites. I personally think that unless some drastically changes, which could possibly happen in the offseason, even if Kyrie goes to the Lakers, I don't think that puts them above the Suns. Yeah. If they're healthy and KD can come back and play how KD was for the Nets, and generally, and this is what I always said I loved about Kevin Durant, is that he can always, at any moment, fit on any NBA team.
That's a fact.
Like, you can
He has that type of skill set.
That's a fact.
plant him on any NBA team in history.
He's a plus.
He is always going to be a plus. I don't care what their scheme is. Instantly. Kevin Durant might be one guy who could walk on any NBA playoff court, not know their game scheme, and somehow still pull out 20 points efficiently. Mm-hmm. Now, there's great scorers in the world and in history that probably be able to do that, but I'm going to bet my money on Kevin Durant just because of the way he fits anywhere. So, with that being said, the Phoenix Suns are contenders this year for sure to win it all if he is that man that I just described. And I think he is. But that's more of a health thing rather than ability.
B, your thoughts?
They're a contender on paper. I still have to see it play out because I don't trust the depth. Booker has been battling injuries all year, still battling the hamstring. I don't know if he's going to be back. I'll be quite honest, this is the first time I'm saying this for real. I think Chris Paul's done being like an impact player. I think he's just a solid NBA guy at this point. So, like, DeAndre Ayton is going to be in a weird spot now because he was already frustrated with his role and how many shots he was getting. Now you're adding Kevin Durant, meaning you're getting even less.
You good.
It's an interesting spot. Talent-wise, yeah, Kevin Durant and Devin Booker on paper is probably the most dynamic scoring duo in the Western Conference by far. But I'm not completely sold on this team yet. I gotta see them do something on the buyout market before I can say it, because I don't know who's a good defender on this team.
Good. Nah. There's some above average, but good is a little step
Guys
above
that don't
average,
play,
so
or a guy they don't play,
Like a Kogi,
yeah,
maybe. Torrey Craig.
Yeah,
Like,
I wasn't gonna
like,
say players that weren't gonna impact more than a couple of minutes a game.
So like this, and this is my thing, and like I said, y'all have heard me say it all the time. Like, when you can have super dynamic offense and super dynamic scores, and that's great. When you get to the playoffs, like, you're eventually gonna run into somebody that can score. Like, if they match up with Dallas, like Dallas, who I don't think the move for Dallas made any sense either, because to me that doesn't make them contenders at all, and Kyrie's probably gonna walk. So it's like they're really bad on defense as well. Okay, well now it's just a shootout. It's Luka and Kyrie versus KD and Booker. You can flip a coin and who you think is gonna win, but like, to me that doesn't.
I might take Dallas.
Exactly, right? Like, and you probably would take KD and Booker.
I think
like,
Dallas just has a little bit more around to sustain. I mean, not Dallas, excuse me. Phoenix has more around them to sustain them as a team in the playoffs, more so than Dallas in a series that they would match up in. But that would go 6 or 7 for me, honestly, just because of their play styles.
And that's just my point, right? Like, when we can already just off the top of our head, we didn't mention the Nuggets, we didn't mention the Clippers. Like, we just already off the top of our head, well, dang, if they match up with Phoenix or if they match up with Dallas, like, it's going 6 or 7. And I'll be honest, if it goes to a game 7, Luka versus KD, that's a coin flip. Like, it is what it is. So like, for me to just be like, yeah, they're the favorite. Like, no, they're not. Like, they're right there in the thick of it.
Though.
Yeah, they're right there in the thick of it. But like, I don't have them like as a favorite.
Well, who are the contenders in the West to you? Because it's Denver.
It's Denver.
And to me, they're running away with it.
Yeah,
because Golden State hasn't gotten it together, and their titles.
Dog, I asked y'all the last time we did a pod.
I told y'all. Oh, go ahead, my fault.
I'm aware that my memory is not the same as it used to be, but the last time we talked, I said, "Aren't y'all worried?" Y'all looked me in my eye.
That was like a month ago.
Yeah, we ain't potted in a while. Bro.
That was like a month and some change ago, though.
Yeah, that was,
and all I was saying was
that was literally like 22 games ago.
And all I was saying
like,
was
we've got an extra 25% of the season to look at now. We're kind of like,
And I'm saying I was on.
Now you saw it. You saw it early.
I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you.
If that's what you're saying, then
I'll give it to you.
I was like, should we be a little more concerned here? Y'all was like, nope, they're fine. Everything's okay.
I'm with you.
Hey, man, I feel like when you're the defending champs, out of respect, I have to give you a longer leash than I would give anybody else.
I thought the time period in which we gave them 22 games ago was long enough. I saw enough. That was before the All-Stars were announced.
That was still the first quarter of the season, though. Like, I can't sit here and say we're about to hit the half mark now.
No, we're past that.
Well, yeah, we're now past that.
It was about the half mark.
50 games in now. More than that, actually.
Yeah.
We were pushing up on the half mark at that
40
point.
and 16.
Oh yeah, we about
the All-Star break.
Like,
that's the reason I really don't like the All-Star break sometimes. It's because it's not really the halfway point of the season. It's like 75%.
Like,
it's weird to me. But anyway.
But yeah. So
60 games in a season.
To answer your question, like, who's the contenders in the West? Denver is the clear cut to me favorite at this point in time. Once again, I would throw Phoenix in that conversation. I think the Clippers are in that conversation, and I think I still would have Golden State as a contender if they get in. My problem now is I don't know if Golden State can get in.
But when I said Phoenix was contenders, and why I said it so quickly is because I think Denver is the only team I'm looking at like
that's
you're
surefire.
A championship team. Nobody else in the West right now is a championship team.
I feel that.
So yeah, if Denver somehow just, whether it's injury, whether it's just a bad series or a matchup against somebody, Phoenix could easily make the championship this year.
I feel that.
As well as the Clippers. As well as if Golden State gets it right. And that's only because I don't believe in Memphis.
Yeah.
Personally. Like I've been saying for like the last year, I think they need quality vets that are gonna play close to at least 30 minutes a game. Not anybody that you're just gonna bring in for locker room or you down as Haslam role or anything like that. I think you need them on the floor. I think you need like if you can sneak a 2016, 2017 even, 18, I'll take it, Iggy. Like, you know what I mean? Some kind of role like that. Yeah, so that's why I'm just looking at Phoenix. Like, the road in the West.
It's wide open. I'll give you that.
It's because they're all this.
Mid.
I'm gonna say a little above mediocre. I was about to say, I can't call these people mid. Like
I can.
You gonna call the Phoenix Suns now mid?
Until I see them on the court together.
I can't call these guys mid. I can't call the whole West except the Denver Nuggets mid. That's
so Denver is obviously
as
not
a
mid.
team.
Memphis is a little bit above mid. They're 34 and 21. They're solid.
They're good.
Sacramento's actually been impressive this year for all things. Ho. Can I get I was somewhat right on the Sabonis trade? Can I get that a little bit?
What did we say?
Because y'all were like, it didn't make any sense. Sacramento's not going to be good. And I was like, no, they have a chance to be good. They're the 3 seed.
I'll wait in the playoffs.
They're a 3 seed in a mid conference.
Why was it?
Right,
when some
In a
players,
mid-
no,
in-
no,
y'all
listen,
Midwest
it-
Conference.
No,
Y'all
it be
said it
some
like the
all-star
trade
players that
he's an all-star.
That be having some great regular seasons, and it's all of a sudden, we'll just wait until the playoffs. Sabonis, who has done nothing to impress me in any kind of winning basketball situation until finally now in the regular season in the Midwest.
So he wasn't. So when he was helping Indiana make the playoffs, he wasn't helping in a winning situation.
What was Indiana doing?
Like all I said,
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's a whole lot of mid teams that are going to make the playoffs.
But my point was always getting Sabonis was Sacramento's trying to make the playoffs. They're trying to improve their franchise, and guess what happened when they made the trade?
And they became a player. Halliburton for him, and that's what we're saying didn't make sense.
So has Tyrese Halliburton proven he can be part of a winning situation?
Is he an all-star?
My boy,
so is Sabonis.
All-star?
Okay.
And he's how many years?
Is he winning?
He's on a rookie
Is he winning?
contract.
Is
and
he
got
winning?
traded to the team that
Is he
Sabonis
winning?
was on, the bad one.
Is he winning?
With the no all-stars
The same team Sabonis was on that made the playoffs?
All-star. So we're going to sit here and we're going to say, oh, it's Tyrese Halliburton affecting winning. Well, who knows if he would have stayed with the Kings, who are now playing better, he could be on a playoff team.
The reason the Kings are playing better is because of Sabonis.
That's what you're saying.
The reason they're playing better is because of Sabonis.
I'm saying
And a
Tyrese
coach.
just made an all-star game.
The coach using
with the
what?
Pacers.
Who's he using?
With the Pacers. So Halliburton just made an all-star game with the Pacers. We're
That's
gonna
great.
We're gonna sit here
Congratulations.
and not act like that's
But
not a.
my point
that
was
was
simply
just the
your
good.
logic
That was the
doesn't
best
add up.
trade.
You want to bash Sabonis for?
I didn't bash Sabonis. I
You
said
did.
the
You were just
trade
like-
wasn't good. That's what I said. I didn't say Sabonis
both
was
teams got
bad.
what they want. Is my point. That was always my point in the trade. Both teams
That
got
doesn't
what
mean
they
you want
wanted.
some good stuff. We
You
make
got
bad
something good.
decisions all the time.
You got a 26-year-old all-star. How's that not good?
I'm saying
Like, I
I
don't
think you got
understand how
the
that's
worst of
not
the
good.
trade.
Maybe
You got the worst
We'll
of the
see.
trade.
We'll
I
see.
think I just saw.
you saw Tyrese.
I'm seeing him lead the league in assists. Well, almost. I think Jokic just took it over. Excuse me, but I see that guy. I don't know if you see him.
I see him. He's been
Then what
playing
are we
great.
talking about?
Sabonis has been playing amazing as well.
All right, if you got it as even, or you take that as a take where I don't think that this even helped the Kings keep De'Aaron Fox in a long run in terms
Why
of
not?
keeping them happy
Why
or something
wouldn't
like
Deion-
that.
why would
Because I don't
De'Aaron-
think this moved the needle for the Kings. You're
So
still going to
going
be a
from
first
not
and
being a
second round
playoff
exit.
team to a third seed didn't move your needle.
It's a third
Like
seed.
that makes no sense to me.
Are they going to make the second round of the
Not
playoffs?
making the
Are they
playoffs
going to
to a
make
third
the
seed.
Are they going to make the
How's that
second round
not
of
moving the
playoffs?
needle?
Are they going to make the second round of playoffs?
Possibly. Who's the matchup?
I don't care. Pick one.
I think they could be the ton teams. I'm sorry. If they match up with what? The Pelicans, the Clippers, like those are teams they can match up and beat.
Price. If you were going to move him, I would have rather you try to package something and try to get a better deal for somebody who I think was going to affect something better than Sabonis. And that's not a disrespect to Sabonis. I understand what you're saying. He came over there. They're a playoff team now. I think in the long run, I think you gave away somebody like Halliburton, who was leading the league in assists, that kind of caliber player, for a Sabonis who could be a rental, who could be somebody you try to flip in the future that doesn't work out. Who knows? But I don't think he's that cornerstone kind of staple kind of player that Tyrese Halliburton has the potential to be. And we've already seen it in this first couple of years.
I disagree. I think y'all giving Sabonis a little. I think y'all are underrating how good Sabonis actually is, and that's just me. Like maybe I just have him rated higher than most people.
I mean, that's cool, and they could be third in the West. This is a weak third in the West season. That's all. That's where I was going with it. Like we want to.
We just said it was mid.
We want to praise them for being third in the West. The first thing I said was, look what's happened to everyone. Golden State's been going through it with injuries and all that in the third. New Orleans was second in the West until Zion went down. Like, who else? Phoenix had injuries. Like, all the superpowers that are supposed to be the superpowers at the top 4 or 5 spaces been ailing. Been ailing the whole time. And let's not talk about the Lakers because they've been dealing with the Russ situation.
And AD being out.
And Bron being out. Like this whole season's been
Dallas got Luka out right now.
Weird. So while we want to praise them for being
Cats out with Minnesota.
So while I want to praise them, because I do want to praise them, and I've done this before, Mike Brown is doing a great job. I think Mike Brown has been the most important addition to the Sacramento Kings, in my opinion. Because while I do like Sabonis and I do like Fox, I do understand that coaches matter. And how they communicate to the players and how they build around them and elevate them matters. I think he's played a huge factor in that. And
that's fair.
And that's in part as to why they're sitting in third to me.
Yeah, that's fair.
Now, that's not taking credit away from Fox and not taking credit away from Sabonis, but Mike Brown is huge in that regard.
Yeah, like one of the few teams with an actual winning record on the road, that's always a good sign of coaching for me. Is how well you play outside of your building. And it just shows that you're just getting up for games that generally a lot of guys would take games off for. So I give you that.
So
if you want to say that's the most important piece of this entire scenario for the Kings, I can understand that logic.
So, but I mean I'll say it like I said when the trade happened. The trade happened and I was like, y'all didn't shop this properly. That's what I said. Tyrese.
That's what
I said. Tyrese Halliburton wasn't shot properly.
I think they could have got a better deal.
That's all I said.
I think they got what they wanted.
They didn't shot properly. If all you wanted was the Montes Sabonis from Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah, one of the top 5 to 10 bigs in the league.
I was like, y'all. I think y'all undersold it. That's what my thought process was. So, but we'll see. Time will tell because like they're both all stars. One, you right, B. Sacramento Kings are in the third. The Pacers right now are the 12th in the East because they are confused. Pacers are confused.
they want to lose.
Mad confused, bro. So we'll see about them moving forward. But let's move on. So what are we saying? The Suns are just in the thick of it.
They're contenders.
You put them in the same.
Definitely.
So it's Denver Nuggets and then everybody else.
Everybody else at this point in time.
That. Yeah, it's Denver and everybody else.
Okay, cool. I can live with that. And in terms of Chris Paul being done, I saw this coming.
He's 38.
He's 38. Like I said, if he was to get a ring, he would get a ring looking like Jason Kidd in Dallas.
Jason Kidd was really good in Dallas, though.
Yeah, he was hooping at.
So
he was kind of hooping in Dallas.
But granted, like he had his Jason Kidd year a couple years ago.
Yeah, like that first Phoenix run was kind of that Jason Kidd year.
I always gave him respect off that.
Like this is more like Jason Kidd with the Knicks.
Ooh,
you watch those games?
Do you think it's that bad?
I don't
think it's that bad yet.
I think it's getting there. Like slowly but surely, like you can just see it. Like
we have two more years before he's New York.
Okay, Jason Kidd was solid with the Knicks still. Like he helped them win 50 games. Like let's stop. Like he was solid. Which is all Chris Paul is to me now. He's solid. Like he can't be superstar. He doesn't have star impact anymore. He's just a vet PG who knows how to be in the right place at certain times and knows how to set up an offense. And that's fine.
I can't believe I'm gonna say this. I'm going to actually, and I think he's solid too, and that's how I'll always describe him. But I feel like your solid is just a little bit lower than what my solid would be right now, which is weird because we're talking about Chris Paul. I'm usually the guy to give Chris Paul some flack. So I will say simply because the Suns have been so beat up, and Chris Paul, his main ability is facilitation.
Yeah.
So if you don't have all your weapons around you and things like that, it's gonna affect your play. We don't expect Chris Paul to put up more than max 15 points per game, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Like going into this season, we thought that. Last season, we thought that.
He's averaging 14 right now?
I thought it was closer to like 12, but I don't know.
I think it's 14.
Like 14-9.
It's like 13-8 or something. Yeah, like 13-9 or 14-9, something like that.
And I think 13-9, if you had your entire squad, would look
13.8,
entirely
8.7.
different than Phoenix with these holes that they're trying to plug in their roster. So while I do think he is solid, I think it's still above average is what I'm still going to call him. B double minus. Like
B double minus. All right.
C double plus. Like he's
That's
he's
my
still
solid.
better than
That's
a
my
lot
solid
of.
to
That's
me.
your.
That's my solid. Like my solid is like a C plus. Like
right.
you're a C plus student.
I didn't know if we were going solids like the actual average. Like scale to 1 to 10, it's a 5, and I'm like, I think he's a 6.5.
He's a C plus guy. That's what he is now.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So
Now back to slandering Chris Paul.
we're off the Suns. Like Brian
lucky.
said,
He's lucky.
Time will tell. As we know, Kevin Durant is still out with the MCL strain. He will not participate in any All-Star game activities. So we won't see him lace it up for the Suns
A couple weeks.
for a good minute.
A little bit.
So yeah, the West is wide open. Denver looks to be running away with it. How they look in the playoffs, I think they're gonna look elite, bro. I think they're gonna be all right. But that's a whole nother conversation for another day. Let's move on. The Lakers. My Lakers fans.
Show.
How y'all feeling, man? How y'all feeling? I know how Brian feeling.
Wait.
I know how Brian feeling.
Before we get into Laker talk,
All right, what we
our Laker talk and Bron's scoring record two separate conversations.
Two separate conversations.
Just had to preface it so I didn't get mixed up in my talkings.
Okay,
All
cool.
right. So then now I can immediately hate.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Because I can't hate on Brian passing the scoring record. So, and I'm not mad at the moves that the Lakers made. I'm just really mad. It just felt like they were shopping for their old pieces back for the last year and a half. You get great value Kuz and Rui, and that's no offense to him, because Kuz is good. Kuz is really good. Rui, you're good too.
Rui's really nice, actually. He's
Rui's
actually been
good.
impressing me these last few games.
He's not as well, and I think it's just a tree thing. It's like, okay, that's Kuz, little bro. Because you couldn't get Kuz, and we all know that was the actual target.
Yeah.
Going after D'Angelo Russell, I was like, if you can't get him, are you gonna call the Knicks for Julius Randle next? Like, I did not know.
I like the D-Lo move.
I liked it, and I love the D-Lo move, but it felt
I ain't like the
so
Malik Beasley
irritating.
I love the Malik Beasley move.
I'll tell you why off pod.
No. We can say it on the pod. If I am Scottie Pippen Jr.,
I mean, yeah, besides.
Mad out,
Okay,
bro.
that's a whole
I'm
different thing.
requesting a
But Scottie
trade.
Pippen Jr. doesn't play. Like, do I care about you?
I don't care.
We can trade you in the G League draft. I don't care.
That's
your own problem.
Principle.
That's your own
It's
problem.
just the principle.
Bro, I'm sorry, Scotty. I get it. If I was him, I'd be upset. Don't get me wrong.
Whoa, just
But-
upset?
Huh?
Just upset?
There were other words I could
You
use.
pass him the ball in practice?
There are other words I could use.
I swear, B, if you pass him the
You
ball,
gonna pass him the rock
we're
in
not built the
practice?
same.
All I'm
If you
saying
pass him
is-
the ball, we not built the same.
All I'm saying is
You didn't answer the question.
all I'm saying
kind of loves when
is
you land on the
he
court.
doesn't even practice with the team most
Oh,
days.
yeah, he
So,
practiced with him. He practiced
I
with
was
him.
about to say, he got
Anyway,
called up once
go
or
ahead.
twice.
Said all that to
Go
say,
ahead, go ahead.
if I was Scottie Pippen Jr., don't get me wrong, I would be pissed. I would not be there for it. I would be ready to go and pack my bags and everything. And guess what the problem is with Scottie Pippen Jr. in this scenario? Nobody cares in the Laker organization. Like, that's
I
just the
don't care
unfortunate
that they don't
reality.
care.
Ain't about this.
Like-
I'm gonna make somebody care.
It's about
You
me.
can try. Okay, it's about
me.
you. Guess what? So guess what we'll tell you? If you're really that upset, go home, stay there. We'll let you, either we'll waive you or we'll trade you in the offseason.
And I would say,
like, it's your
waive me
your
or
opinion
trade me in
doesn't
the
matter to the
offseason.
Lakers
I
organization.
understand what you're saying,
If
like,
it
he's
was
not moving the
LeBron,
needle.
this is a whole different
It's
discussion
a
because we saw how that played
personal
out. Delonte West couldn't get back into the league.
But it's
We
a
saw how
personal
that played out.
Brian being too logical, Tamon. He being too logical.
And
We
that's why,
can't
like I
debate
said,
that.
I
We
didn't
can't
say
debate
if I'm
that.
Scottie Pippen Jr., I'm going to say, oh, nah, y'all shouldn't have traded for Malik Beasley. That's not what I said. I said if I'm Scottie Pippen Jr., I'm asking for a trade. I
all I'm
understand
saying.
the value.
That's all I'm saying.
I
That's all I'm
understand the
saying.
value.
And,
Whether you
and he has
waive me,
all
send
right,
me home for
and
the
I'll
season,
agree, he has all rights to request a trade.
I'm not
But
going
just
into that building.
If I'm Rob Pelinka, so.
But I think the G League organization, I think they're building somewhere else. Actually, they're playing in a different
So,
city or
yeah.
something like that. So,
Yeah.
like, just send me to the G League for the rest of the year, and that's cool with
That's
that.
cool.
But it's just not happening.
That's
I'm
good.
not.
And trust me, if I'm Rob Pelinka, I'm like,
Nah.
fine.
You in a locker room after a win and Gucci flip flops just playing in the background. Like how many locker rooms have Future ruined? How many? Like how many? Yo, he's a villain and I love it. But Nah, like that's the Scottie Pippen Jr. talk. But no,
yeah,
I love their moves. I just didn't like the fact that it felt like it almost felt like
they were buying back everything.
It almost felt like
they sold.
regret, and not regret going to get AD.
Regret getting Westbrook.
Oh no, I mean yeah, you can go there. But I was thinking about since they were the younger players, trading everything away to get AD instead of just waiting for that offseason.
Which they should have done in the first place.
And that's what I'm saying.
I agree with that. I've said that before.
This was catching up to that.
Yeah.
I think this was just recorrection from the Westbrook deal.
Yeah, but I think this much was on the market. Oh no, because you could have got DeMar. Yep, you're right. You're right.
This was just self-correction from the Westbrook deal. Granted, yes, it does feel like, we're trying to make up for
Just
the AD
because
deal.
of the players that we're looking at.
But unfortunately, like, I don't think they ever really cared about, like, especially once AD got there and they won a title.
As soon as you got a chip.
Okay, we're over that now. Like, we just keep pushing forward. But now, having Westbrook and it failing so dramatically, you're having to self-correct, and it required you to do things that, like, you just didn't expect you would have to do. Bring back D'Lo. Go get Malik Beasley. Mo Bamba.
Shout out. I like that pickup.
I love that pickup.
I like
that
that
was an amazing
pickup. I like
I'm
that
not gonna kick it. I'm not gonna kick it, man.
Woo! That's why you don't disrespect Shams.
Rob Pelinka did all right, man.
No, he did amazing.
Rob
What he
Pelinka
had
did
to
all
work
right.
with,
He really
it was
got,
an
no, he really got in his bag.
It was
bro.
an A+ deadline
He got in
for
his
what he
bag.
had to work with.
Yeah.
No ifs and buts about it.
The only reason I say they're not the absolute winners of the trade deadline is because when you land a guy like Kevin Durant who has like 3 years left on his deal, I think you automatically are probably gonna win that trade deadline. But everything else, it's been Lakers, and I like the Nuggets pickups too, and we can get to that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Clippers made some moves and got Bones Highland. Like, I think they could have did more, but getting rid of John Wall, getting off of that experiment. Eric Gordon,
that's a good pickup,
that is what they did more.
And
They got a big. They got a
they sent John Wall back there.
Oh yeah, Thomas Brumley. Mason Plumlee. Yeah,
Mason Plumlee and Eric Gordon were two very good pickups for the Clippers.
Yeah, so I understand it and I respected a lot of spaces, but this Lakers, by what you say, if we're talking about pound for pound, what you have to work with in terms of making moves.
Yeah, they went. They went and got a brand new roster,
and
and one that actually fits.
They went and got a brand new roster.
One that makes sense. You actually improved your shooting.
And defense.
And facilitation on the floor, theoretically speaking. But
it was like
the only reason to your point, you said the only reason like you can't consider them the big winners because of KD. The only reason I can't consider them the big winners is because they're still so far out of it. If they were the 9 seed right now, this would be like, oh, they're gonna go for it.
But they were sitting pretty at the 12th or 13th. So
it's like if they were the 9 seed, it'd be like, oh, they could make a run. Like they could be right there. Like I'll be honest. And even now, if they matched up with Phoenix in the playoffs now, because basically what that would mean is we played amazing for the last 25 games of the season. We won out the play-in. If we matched up with Phoenix now, I would pick the Lakers. Like, I think they match up better with Phoenix than Phoenix matches up with them. Like, there's nobody on Phoenix that's guarding LeBron.
I don't know.
There's nobody that's guarding AD.
I respect that. And I know AD was out for this, but I just had that flashback of Book giving 47 in that closeout
Without
game.
AD, we were up.
I understand. Without AD
on the floor, we was up.
Without AD, that Suns team ain't have KD.
I feel you.
And I understand we got to think about
But they had Mikal Bridges and they had Cam Johnson. Like, there's so many moves. Once again, the firepower, yes. But I'm just saying in terms of the style of the fight, like,
the defenders you can throw and switch on.
The guys you can throw, like D'Lo. Like, I don't think Chris Paul can guard D'Lo now. Like, I'll be quite honest. I don't think he can guard D'Lo now. Chris Paul's a statue.
I don't know why that's so out of the realm.
But, like, some people look at, Chris Paul's, like, he's not Chris Paul anymore. Like, I don't think he can even guard D'Lo now. Like, Devin Booker has never been a good, like, there's more things the Lakers can throw at the Suns than they can throw back. The Suns would just be leaning on KD and Booker's just going to shoot them out of it. Where the Lakers could be like, oh, no, we can slow the game down. We can shoot with you because we got shooters now. We got bigger bodies with Bamba and AD.
My only big thing is
Go ahead.
I just don't think a LeBron James-led team has a switch anymore. I honestly think it's a dial. And I think every time we've ever seen them try to make a run, even in a series, I've seen it go like in the middle of a game, like, all right, let's get serious. I think they're going to try that this year. If they make a play in, I don't think they're going to win it.
You know what I think the difference is that will be this time around?
What?
The roster's actually younger. Like LeBron's always tried to do that with veteran teams, and it's like we're watching.
It's got him there though.
Once again, it gets you to the mountaintop to a point, but to that point of like flipping the switch, like it's so much harder to flip a switch with old bodies. Like we're watching that right now with Golden State.
We're talking about the guy who leads like everybody in the flip switching category, and he's 38. That's my whole point. He can't even lead that himself, and. I'm not trying to disrespect LeBron and say like he's not been doing some otherworldly stuff and that he can't just disprove everything I'm saying. I don't think it's reliable. I mean, yeah, I don't think it's a reliable concept of him flipping a switch anymore. Or this Laker team who hasn't even gotten a full year. They didn't start the year off together. So
that's fair.
That's all I'm worried about is whether they have enough time to even become a team.
I'll be honest.
That's a fair point.
I'll be honest with you. You're right. They may not have enough time to become a team, but everybody else is just falling like flies. Like
they're floundering.
Like everybody.
But you know what my kind of
they're
argument
only,
of
they're
that?
only 3.5 games out of the 10 spot where Utah sits.
And they're definitely about to fall.
Utah?
But are you? And I hate that I feel like I'm always picking.
I don't like Minnesota. We keep talking about New Orleans. We
don't know when Zion's coming back.
We assume New Orleans.
We don't know if AD's gonna be healthy for the rest of the year.
That's fair.
That's
fair.
my whole
Like
point. Is
like right now, LeBron's.
It was
hurt.
AD's turn at the beginning of the year. We don't know if he's gonna come back around because it happens multiple times in a season.
And what I'm saying is this is the first time since the bubble LeBron James is around guys that actually fit and makes his job easier to do. Like, it's easier for him to play basketball now. Now, the same conversation we could have had, a week ago? Yeah, we'd be like, all right, there's no need for us to check standings, where they sit. Yeah. It's a wash. Because we realize there's certain matchups, there's certain rotations. This is just not going to work. This team is not going to work. But with the new additions, plus what they were able to keep, and then how all these, like, Malik Beasley, they kept Lonnie Walker, right?
Kept Lonnie.
Even
though they didn't want to.
I think he's good for them. Despite
they were trying to get Gary Trent Jr. though.
So let me pull up who's out. Russell Westbrook's out. Kendrick Nunn's out. Juan Toscano-Anderson's out. Damian Jones is out. Thomas Bryant is out. I like Thomas Bryant. He was doing a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, he was playing.
But he wanted to
I like Mo Bamba better.
I understand.
For the Lakers,
I get that.
For what we need.
I get that. Pat Bev is out. Cool. You went and got D'Lo. Cool. Malik Beasley. Cool. Jared Vanderbilt. Makes sense.
Great.
Rui looks like he fits there.
He looks
so
good.
Boom. Davon Reed.
Not playing.
Not gonna worry about him.
I was
Mo
saying he was just a
Bamba.
pickup.
Big piece. Big piece in that. Because now you can spell it. You can
I
even
think
put him
he
on
was the piece that tied everything
You
together.
can put him on the floor.
They needed
put him on the
another
floor.
I was
with
like,
AD.
you made a lot of moves. You
Like,
need big.
It's easier for LeBron to play basketball again. And that hasn't happened for the last 2 years.
I think everybody's job is easier though. Like it makes AD's job easier. Like there's actual other capable defenders on the floor.
Like
there's Mo Bamba who can theoretically guard bigger matchups at times.
If they ended up the 9th seed over Minnesota, I wouldn't be surprised.
I think we can make a run at the play-in. I think we can make a run at the play-in.
Be a play-in, and then you telling me you're matching up with OKC, because I think OKC make the playoffs. You matching with OKC, maybe Portland, or
like New Orleans, maybe.
New Orleans, like
Golden State.
They could win out. They could win out the play-in, bro. They could win out the play-in.
Now, once again, the only matchup I wouldn't like for them is Denver. Like that's the only one I would be like. And granted, I still think we would even kind of match up a little bit with Denver, but I just think Denver's playing at a totally different level right now.
Yeah.
But if we matched up with like Memphis, I would be like.
But I think Memphis is fraudulent. Like,
but like that's my point though. Like if we get there, we're gonna have a totally different discussion. Because in playoff basketball, we already know the game's gonna change. It's gonna slow down. Like now we're playing a different game.
Matchups. We're playing a game
and the only way the Lakers get there is if they're actually meshing. Like they have to be playing well.
I don't know if there's enough time for them to climb this ladder, to make a play-in for sure. I think to win whatever play-in they're playing for, especially if they're the 10th to win 2.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So you don't trust LeBron and AD versus like Shea?
versus Shea.
Shea and Giddy hooping.
They hooping,
Yeah,
but like,
yeah.
I
don't know why I was thinking that hard. Yeah,
Like, would you really
that's my
trust Shea
fault.
to
That's my fault.
win that matchup?
Nah, I don't.
With this roster.
I don't.
With Westbrook, I would be all Shea. My money would go
and
to
I
Shea
think
in a
that's
heartbeat.
what I still feel with the Lakers.
I might pick
I don't
Shea.
know if we can get past that.
That's for sure. Okay,
I don't know if we
Yes,
can
I
get
am.
past this half year that we just had.
I feel you.
And get
I
our
respect
heads
that.
together.
I respect that.
Nah.
Because Shea is the type that would put up 45 in a one game,
One
for the
game,
money.
on the line, 45
My
point
boy
Shea.
just
It
dropped
wouldn't surprise me.
44 and only missed 3 shots.
Josh Giddey end up with a triple double.
It wouldn't shock me. Both Jalen's end up
Both
with
Jalen's got
10.
15 points. Like what?
Love that team.
I'm like, once again, I couldn't argue with that logic because y'all have heard me say that even about guys like Trae Young. Like, one game, everything on the line, you never want to be in that type of scenario.
One for the money, man.
But like,
He's not Trey. He played defense.
once again, I just look at it as if we actually get to that point, that means the team had to have meshed well in
Yeah.
some extent.
To some point.
And in that matchup, it's hard for me to bet against a healthy LeBron and AD. Now, that in itself is an if.
Yeah.
Big if.
But if it gets to that point,
Yeah.
it would be hard for me to not bet on that.
If, then I agree.
Nah, like
I agree. I agree.
That's all.
Nah, yeah.
Now,
I think,
said all that to say, either way, even if we don't make the play in this year,
Oh no, I
I'm
feel
happy.
like these trades.
Like,
was-
I'm happy.
yeah, I know Brown was happy. Before the camera was coming on, I told him, I said, I peeped you was in the Lakers spaces again. You left the Golden State space and started going back to the Lakers one a little more heavy.
You want to know how I felt when the Westbrook trade went down for real?
Don't tell me, because you about to disrespect, and I don't like it.
you mean?
You about to disrespect Russ. This man's playing gospel. We gonna get, gospel copyright too.
In all fairness, for like the last year and a half, it's been like Negro spirituals on Lakers. So I'm not mad at the switch because we've been waiting in the water.
Hey, do not. I knew he was gonna say that. Do not equate the Lakers' struggle to slavery.
Watching Westbrook in a Laker uniform was one of the worst experiences.
Oh man,
of my
it's nothing
Laker
close to slavery. I have to
tenure.
say that out loud for context.
This
but
man said it was fan slavery, Laker fan slavery.
I'm not gonna go that far, but if I not seeing Westbrook in a Laker jersey is the greatest experience I've had in a long time as a Laker fan. I'm sorry,
won a chip 3 years ago.
we did.
That's
And
wild.
So, and it's funny. I said this in
That
space.
was a bubble chip.
I said this in space because even when we talked about the bubble, I was always on the fence about it. So we're not going to act like I'm saying anything crazy there.
Yeah.
But I said in space, I was like, yo, this is the happiest I've been as a Laker fan since before the bubble. Because before the bubble, we were the number 1 seed. We were playing really well.
Yeah.
Like, we were a really good team. The bubble happened. I just still don't know how I feel about it. It was the bubble, whatever. I'll take the chip and keep it moving. But since then, this has been horrible. It's been painful. And I have not enjoyed a single second of it until now. I watched the Laker game live. I watched us lose. Who did we even play the other night? I don't even remember. The Laker, LeBron didn't play after he scored or after he broke the record. We lost. To him.
OKC.
Okay, see,
Was
you
that
talking about, no, that wasn't that
OKC
night you're
was
talking
the night
about.
he
Yeah.
broke the record. I'm talking about the
Oh,
game
Bucks.
after.
You talking about the Bucks?
I watched that Bucks game, and I was like, man, Austin Reeves is hooping. I love this team. Rui's going, oh man, look at that step back by Rui. This team is, oh yeah, man, I'm all for it, baby. Let's rock, baby. I don't know how it's gonna go. I don't know how it's gonna turn out, but I can watch this team.
I want everybody watching to go back and watch Brian cue up that song.
I queued it up a minute ago.
It was a while ago. I was like, what is he doing?
I thought you were just looking up stats.
Play it off.
I queued
I
it up
got
a
the
minute ago.
laptop here going out. All
I
right.
thought we were about to segue to it, and then we spun off into a tangent. So I was like, oh well, never mind. I'm gonna hold on to it because I'm gonna use it at some point.
Man.
That's how I
A
feel.
dedication.
Hey,
Yo.
got to commit to the bit.
I get it for sure. I'm proud
Yo,
of you.
I want to say,
I want to say, Chicago, you can have Westbrook. Clippers, y'all can definitely have them. Take them, please.
I'm just rooting that the Clippers get them.
Hey, my Golden State fans, y'all can have them. Anybody that wants Westbrook, take them. By all means.
Well, you don't have to shop him around anymore, right? Like, he's off of our hands.
I know.
Like, we don't.
No, because
We don't gotta beg
because
anybody
The
to take
reason
Westbrook.
the reason I'm doing this is because for 2 years now, I have had to listen to people tell me the Lakers are ruining Westbrook, LeBron's ruining Westbrook. And granted, even I've been hard on LeBron about how he treats his teammates at
I
times.
honestly think it was 70-30. 70 Westbrook was in the wrong.
Okay. My point, and I said this before he got to the Lakers, I said it 5 years ago. Westbrook is not a championship basketball player. never has been, never will be. So all these teams that think the Lakers didn't know how to use Westbrook, show us.
But
I want to see it.
And that's why I would say 70 Westbrook, 30 Lakers is because 70 Westbrook, you ain't changed throughout your whole life. 30 is if Brian is sitting on our couch right now saying Westbrook won't go ever change and he won't ever win a chip, Lakers, why did y'all go and sign him? And that's why I can't sit here and just say Russ is a bum and he played horrible for the Lakers. He should have never been on the Lakers roster. So got to give a little bit of credit.
You look upset.
Because he's a Russ guy.
I'm defending Russ.
You know
30%.
You know what, bro?
You want me to preface everything?
That's
he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's
No. Don't Stephen A. me on the pod, dog. Do not Stephen A. on the pod. That's nasty behavior.
Telling you.
I do not need you to tell me how great of a humanitarian he is, and then go into the slander because I know it's fake. I know it's fake. Jason Williams don't like it when he does that.
I don't care.
All right, listen, bro. I'm glad Russ is out. I'm glad Russ is out because it was detrimental for both people. It was detrimental for both people.
Toxic relationship.
Being a Laker, and we understand this, and the weight it is to be a Laker, to wear that jersey,
It's heavy.
Is heavy.
It's a lot of expectation.
I think it is only Yankees, Cowboys that way is heavy.
I don't think Cowboys way is heavy. I think Celtics.
It's a conversation.
I think
No, they used to, not anymore.
I'm talking going cross sports. Yankees and Cowboys is probably that's the heaviest jersey to wear, bro.
Wearing a Cowboys jersey mean too much, to be honest.
No,
it's a step down.
The pressure.
Yeah,
the pressure of it?
No, it is.
I would say
now,
only
the expectations we have for
Cowboys.
them.
Bro, no, Cowboys fans for the last 20-something years, we were talking about a different sport.
Tangent.
Have been talking about, this is our year, this is our year. Now, it's Super Bowl Sunday tomorrow, so this is our year, and the Cowboys aren't in it. This is our year, and the NFC East team is in it again for like the 5th time since the Cowboys have been in it since the last time. This is our year, and it's never their year. No, I don't think an organization like the Lakers can even can be compared to a second rate.
The Yankees for sure.
I'll talk about more so the expectations in terms of when you put on that jersey.
Nah, bro.
It's a step
Tony
down.
Romo kept his job for how many years? If Kobe Bryant was Tony Romo, would he be a Laker? He would have never been a Laker for that long.
Pro quarterback.
I'm gonna say.
Tony Romo won one playoff game.
I get what you're saying.
You get what I'm saying?
It's close, but I definitely think the Cowboys are a step
you're
down
talking
from
about the
Lakers
of
and
the
the
Cowboys
Yankees.
are the biggest NFL team, but it's still no comparison.
It's not comparable. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
I'm not gonna argue. I don't care about the Cowboys enough.
I think you would have to go towards soccer, but soccer is an even bigger thing. Like soccer is kind of like they will look at basketball like you can't compare this.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think the Yankees are a good comparison.
I think the Yankees are the best one you're gonna get.
When you put on a Laker uniform, the weight that comes with it is not properly expressed until you have on the jersey, and they're like, "Oh, you didn't know?"
Yeah.
Those eyes.
Russ very much experienced that, and not only did he have to experience that, he experienced that in a situation where the cards were not dealt in his favor at all.
And even in his hometown.
And
something you wouldn't expect to really. You think you're going to get love there when you sign to your hometown.
You would have got love if you could shoot.
And that's I don't think so.
Not for the Lakers. Because
I think this
so
is
much so much bigger than LA.
Right. This is so much bigger than LA. Like this isn't about hometown. This isn't just a local team. This is a worldwide, global situation.
Right. East Coast, and look how many Laker fans are in this room.
Exactly.
Like it's bigger than just being from LA.
So because of that, and because the pieces didn't fit properly for even Russ to be any type of version of himself, it was detrimental. And where people can now come out and say that Russ was some type of a vampire-esque factor or weight in the locker room, sucking the competitive spirit out of the locker. That's so dramatic. So dramatic. It's dramatic, B. It's dramatic. Imagine
only if it's not true.
If I heard you say that to me about some player on your team, I would be like, shut up, bro. Relax.
It is honestly dramatic.
Honestly,
I would
vampire, bro.
Describe him in a different way.
Vampire.
Use your words.
Vampire.
The words make
you are
it
not
sound
JK
dramatic.
Rowling, bro. We do not need you out here calling people vampires.
Don't get me wrong, but all I'm saying is was he actually doing that? Yes or no? That's my only point.
And I'm
now you can argue about the vocabulary and the language,
but I think that's what matters.
And that's the point.
Printed statement. So like this is what I'll say. If
they just came out and said he was taking all the energy out of the locker room, that'd be better.
If you were able to contextualize it with an interview that was spoken, and I can hear how you said it and what the frameworks of the question and all of that, it would have been bad still. But I think it would have sounded better. But if I just get this question and I get this blanket headline statement,
he's a vampire in the locker room.
I can't tell you the statements that he made before. I can't tell you all the statements that he made after. But I know what he said about Russell in that moment because that's what the media does, and that's just how it's supposed to be fed to us.
Yeah.
Those kind of sound bites. This wasn't even a sound bite. It was just a headline.
It was live.
It sounds like as just a casual reader, it seems so much worse because it's like, why did he say that? What context did he say that? What's making him say this? Like,
right.
Yeah, and mind you, there were speculations of which person had said this about Russell Westbrook, and if they had any kind of like history with him in the past and not getting along or something like that. But it still seems out of character to call another man a vampire in that locker room. And granted, we've heard the word cancer in the locker room used a lot, but granted, I don't think I've ever can remember an occasion when somebody called somebody a cancer in the locker room and they weren't a cancer in that locker room. Like, they weren't detrimental to the success of that team or organization. I think Russell Westbrook just never should have been on the Lakers, like I said, in the first place. There has to be some kind of responsibility as an organization, as fans of an organization. We have to expect them to take accountability for their part in this. So, the rest is overrated.
And that's where I think I've been the most frustrated with Russell Westbrook's tenure there, because the context has never been offered to who Russell Westbrook has been his whole career, and
man.
To his play style, to all of that. But we take the trade. Yes, we know the trade is dumb. We know the trade shouldn't have happened. But you take the trade, and then Russell Westbrook shows up, and now everybody's pointing fingers and saying things, and now all of these conspiracy theories are coming out about who he is as a person and all that in the third. And we're just feeding into an already bad situation with false communication. It's not even real anymore. Like,
false
we're just doing it. Like, it's false. Like,
false accusation.
the false accusations are Russ out here intentionally trying to lose or work hard or whatever case may be. Like, granted, he can have attitudes because he doesn't like certain situations because he's stepping down off a role he doesn't like. I can get that. That's competitive spirit. Being a starter my whole career, and then here I am, a former MVP, now being a sixth man.
First ballot Hall of Famer.
I can be frustrated about that situation. So that's fair. But me going into a situation and now all of a sudden everything that I do is now being pointed at, looked at, as scrutinized as a cancer or a vampire is completely off board.
Yeah, I agree.
And this is where, once again, I've been on firm ground up. The Lakers should have never got him. They never should have traded for him. He did not belong on the team, period. With that being said, let's really contextualize, because this whole idea of like Westbrook was somehow treated unfairly and all these things. Westbrook said when he got there, when he met with LeBron and AD, he was going to be willing to change his game. He said that. So you got there, you said you were going to do it, and then you didn't do it. First off, so now you walked into the locker room saying, hey, everything's hunky-dory. I'm going to do what I need to do to help us win. And then when they asked you to do it, you were like, nah, that's not going to help. I want to continue to play my way, my game all the time. Cool. Now we literally have to now play around you wanting to go against the grain, playing a style of basketball that we all know won't be successful in a championship run. Cool. Now, we realize that's not working. You're not playing well, Russ. You're hitting the side of the backboard. You're throwing the ball everywhere. You're finishing at the rim at the worst rate of your career. And now we say, hey, dude, you probably should come off the bench. This isn't working. And you still throw your hands in the air and have a hissy fit. Why? We go into film sessions. We say, hey, Russ, you didn't box out here. You didn't rotate here on defense. Man, it's not my fault. I didn't do it. Why you always blaming me? You were a baby the entire time you were with the Lakers. And I want to hear, well, he was never like that anywhere else. You want to know why? Because nobody else had championship expectations for you since Kevin Durant left OKC. You've been on team after team where, hey, just go get triple doubles. Everything's happy. I can do what I want. I can do what I want. That was you for 6 years. And nobody said anything to you because, hey, man, this Westbrook, man, just let him do him. Let him get triple doubles. We ain't trying to win a championship. Now you're trying to win.
And that's where And that's where I think you are now imprinting what you believe on the situation. Because, yes, he's been out here getting triple doubles and all that because on those teams he had to. And yes, I do understand.
No. Let me just, because what I'm not saying he didn't have to get triple doubles. My point is those teams were never going to actually hold Russ accountable for any. He was not a good defender in OKC. He literally was not. He was not a good shooter, but nobody would ever actually tell him, hey, dude, you should probably work on your jump shot. He still wasn't a good decision maker. I said this when he was there. So let's not act like I'm changing my opinion. I said these things while he was there. He was never held accountable ever. And now that you are, you throw a hissy fit. We say all the time, you find out who a man is when the cards are actually stacked against him. This is the first time in his career things were not going to be spoon-fed to you. It was not going to be everything revolving around you. And it was, hey, man, you have to fit in and play winning basketball. You have to change for the first time in your career. And what did he do? He threw a hissy fit all 2 years. So I'm sorry. I'm not on this fan of like he's being treated unfairly. He's being held accountable. And if you want to say the media is treating him unfairly, you want to know why the media is treating him unfairly? Because he's been a butthole to the media his whole career. Sorry, you put a target on your back. Don't be mad when people shoot. I'm done.
You got anything?
Real quick, the one thing I will have to say is I understand some of your sentiments. I disagree with a lot of it in terms of just looking at Russ in this space. Simply because, like I said earlier, I gave it 70-30, and I still gave it 70 Russ way in terms of blame. But I can't sit here and say, like, Lakers, I can't sit here and say, y'all made a poor decision and then bash Russ. Like, that's my whole point that I just made. I don't hear any of this vitriol for the Lakers. Like, I never hear anybody like, the Lakers are such a stupid organization. Why did we ever sign Russ, blah, blah, blah. It's always, Russ, you should have played better. Russ, you're this. Russ, you're that. When you said 5 years ago you thought Russ wasn't going to never change it, he wasn't going to be a winning player. So that's all that's telling me is that you're not signing or appropriately thinking about constructing a roster in a more proper way. So who am I going to look at? The player you never expected to change or be possible of change in the very first place, trying to say that he's going to be willing to attempt to change. He didn't say he's going to be able to achieve it because you don't know that, but your attempt. And I think he attempted. I just don't think personally he was going to be able to achieve it. That's why it didn't look like much. It looked damn near pathetic, to be honest. That's why people didn't notice the attempt, because he can't do the things that the Lakers needed him to do, which is why they should have never got him. But the energy turns into Russ can't do this, can't do that, can't do this, can't do that, when he was never the man for the job. And that's why I got to give him that kind of cushion. Is this should have never been your problems. You needed a job, I get it, but they went out, traded for you, and you can try your best. I'm still saying 70-30 to Russ. I don't want that to get confused, but there needs to be more of this for the Lakers being a bad or making a bad organizational move,
and I've gone
and
off
putting
on
us in our spot.
I've gone off on the Lakers before. I'm gonna let you. I'm just answering this point really quick. I've gone off on the Lakers before, and I will always stand by this decision of it was dumb to get them. It made no sense. The roster was never gonna work. Period. They deserve all blame, LeBron and AD included. My point with Russ is simply, even if Russ had failed at his job, which I always expected he would, even if he had failed, the way he acted about it is what gives me that, like, that's why I had that energy. And I had the same energy towards Dwight Howard when he came to the Lakers. So, like, I'm sorry, I'm consistent. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm consistent.
And I think that if I do not equate the same in terms of Dwight Howard coming to the Lakers as Russ coming to the Lakers. It's not the same to me, because in my opinion, Russ was coming from a situation. Dwight Howard already was having some issues, and we were starting to see a fluctuation in who Dwight Howard was as a player. I think Russ ended up out of OKC because OKC decided we're just going to start over. He could have very well just went on and continued to get triple doubles in OKC, possibly because the guys the AC, whatever case may be. That would have been a thing, and cool. That would have been it. That would have been the ceiling.
He just been superhero Russ.
He'd been superhero Russ.
That's it.
But he ended up in Washington, where he had to figure it out with Bradley Beal. And then he ended up in Houston, had to figure out with James Harden. And James Harden with Mike D'Antoni down, Mike D'Antoni.
Yeah.
And trying to figure all that out. Then ended up with Beal. All that, and had to figure it out how to play with Beal. And then trying to figure that out. In situations where, even if he's with another superstar or star, however you deem Bradley Beal.
Yeah.
He's in a situation where it's more suitable for him on a very rigid player in terms of play style. Let's just use this example. Russ is a square. He's a great square, but he's a square.
Yeah.
You put him next to other pieces that wrap around the square like Tetris, it fits. It can work. This situation can work. Is there a ceiling on it? Possibly. Depending on what you play and who you play, there's a ceiling on it. Cool. But he's a square. You take that square, then you put him in a different game, you put him around a bunch of circles, and you telling him to go fit. And then then you get mad at him because he's frustrated because he understands who he is as a player. And he's been all world as a player. Yeah. And now everybody comes at him and saying, oh no, he's trash. Which the Lakers community has done to him. Which the media has done to him. Yeah. And he's not trash. He's not trash. He's not trash. He's not trash.
As an individual
talent. He's a superstar.
As a championship player.
He's not B. He's not. Okay. You put him around in a bad situation with the expectation of wearing purple and gold, which we understand. Now you're getting mislabeled. And that's the problem I have. The problem I've always had. We've mislabeled players too easily because you put them in bad situations and all of a sudden they're trash or they're garbage and all that in the third. And I don't care what anyone says. Anyone who's played at the level that Russ has played at and been successful at the way he's been successful is not trash. Now, can he fit in all situations? No. Cool. I can accept that. Would he look bad in certain situations? I can accept that.
He's getting a mellow treatment right now.
Cool.
Except for maybe this is worse.
But walking around and the way the way people miscommunicated things about him, the way people have said things about him, and they're mad he's frustrated having hissy fits, quote unquote hissy fits. I'd be frustrated. I'd be mad too because I'm an all-star player being treated like a six-man, and the only reason why is because your superstar wanted me here on this trash team that don't even fit him. Like, come on, dog. Stop playing with me.
But you said you was going to change.
Like, stop. And he tried to change. The frustration comes in.
Shouldn't have let LeBron be GM.
The frustration comes in, B, when I'm a competitive person and things are still not working and all the blame is being placed to me.
All of it. That's
the frustration. That's where I can be mad. And I don't care what anyone says. You go to work one day, you do your job, or you try and do your job, and nothing. You ain't got books, you ain't got a desk, you ain't got anywhere to go, and they ask you why you doing such a trash thing at your job, why your kids failing classes, why this happened, and all that in the third. And you're like, well, I'm a great teacher. I was a teacher where I was at last time.
Yeah, facts.
The principal treated me right. They asked me.
But then you had a Montessori. And it's entirely different rules.
But all of a sudden, you send me here and all things ain't working and the kid's still failing. Like, you're a trash teacher. No, I'm not a trash teacher. The situation doesn't fit me right now. And that's what it was.
Once again, I won't disagree with that. I think if Russ had stayed anywhere else, he would have averaged his triple-doubles, and my point would still be the same. My point is, when it comes to championship basketball, he doesn't help you. And that's always been my point. As an individual talent, is he a superstar? Is he one of the greatest players of all time? Icon?
You're just saying you can't win with him.
But when it's talking about actually winning a title, he won't get it done and he won't help you. And I just categorize players differently in that aspect. Like I said, there are plenty. Iverson, Melo, all those dudes. Those are amazing all-time individual talents, sure. But when I'm talking about championship expectations, championship level play, those guys don't do it. Like, that's just, and I've always felt that way.
But the counter for those, real quick, because you mentioned some names, just real quick. The counter for those is Melo lost the Western Conference Finals against Kobe Bryant. Mm-hmm. Allen Iverson lost the finals against Kobe Bryant. Allen Iverson was a small guard who had arguably one of the worst finals team rosters in the last 23 years. Top 5 worst finals roster.
Okay.
Probably top 3.
I would.
Yeah, respectfully.
I would say top 3.
Yeah, I got 2 in my head that are probably worse.
It's up there. Don't get me wrong.
So while I do respect those takes, it's just those specific legends. I 100% think that you had opportunities, and they were way higher on the you can win with them level. The league was different, of course, but I think they ran up against monsters that I can't really get too upset at you losing for consistently in your career. Now, Russell, the difference is generally you play with people that are arguably better than you and then 100% better than you in terms of Kevin Durant. Then you got guys like PG. Now you're on the team with LeBron and AD, so you didn't have to carry that weight. So while I would say, like, if you want to say Russell isn't a championship piece, I can respect that. I wouldn't throw or lump him in the same category as like Allen or Melo, because respectfully, in terms of championship aspects, like when they had their championship mobs, they carried more weight. If they had better mobs, I can't sit here and say Melo wasn't going to get out that Western Conference Finals. I mean, I am going to say that, but it was a battle. Like, Melo didn't... We talk about Melo, Western Conference Finals.
That Denver team was the best team he probably ever played with.
And I can't sit here and say, like, Melo came up short. He lost. But what else did I want from Melo?
I respect that.
So... I just want to be real particular on how we engage in talking about
and that's fair.
Players without championships and then players who are not championship caliber players. And I think you're describing Russ as the latter. He's not a championship caliber player. And I think Allen Iverson and Carmelo Anthony and the likes of Chris Paul are guys who just don't have championships.
So, to that point, I really don't want to go down along with the baby. My point with those two guys would always be, for Iverson and Melo, yes, they did have that 1 year they got close. But when you're talking about those caliber of players, when you're talking about championship level players, it doesn't only happen once. It has that's the reason I always rate Chris Paul a little bit higher than those guys, because he consistently kept getting close, and it was always something else falling through the door. Iverson got close once in a horrible Eastern Conference, and then never sniffed it again.
I think Russ has been as close as Chris Paul.
Not as a one.
As a one?
As a one?
Oh, okay. I guess we're gonna cloud those Clipper years when they they scratched the Western Conference Finals that 1 year.
I think they made it to the Western Conference semis twice. I don't think they ever made the conference finals. Westbrook never got out the first round.
But I'm not gonna call Chris Paul a championship caliber piece if we're arguing on that. I'm just saying.
Once again, I'm not saying.
And
I'm not saying Chris Paul.
I just don't think that argument's solid.
I'm not even saying Chris Paul is that. I'm just saying I would rate him a little bit higher than those guys, like just a little bit. So. Like I said, when you're talking about these guys who are like championship caliber, like you get there more than once. You make it happen almost once. It isn't like, oh man, I had one amazing year where, because we talk about it all the time. Sometimes things do finally just break your way 1 year, and that was it. Like the perfect example for that would have been like Dirk Nowitzki if he did.
I was about to say if Dirk never came back and won. Yeah,
like he would have been the perfect example.
But then I would look you in the face and say if he never won 2011, and it was still same Dirk. He just lost that finals. I would look you in the face and say, you're crazy if you say he's not a championship caliber player.
But once again, I wouldn't say that, because like I said, he made it to the finals twice, made it to a bunch of Western... Like, he got close so many times where it was just like, you just literally always lost to either better, or you did choke sometimes, whatever the case may be. Like, you just didn't get it done. But you were close.
I don't know. He had 20 years with an organization that believed in him. I think it's situations how we talked about earlier, and that's why I'm just hesitant on labeling some guys without championships as guys who are not championship caliber players, because they are superstar and championship caliber players in my opinion. But I do agree with you, and I don't want to like get this. Well, you just mentioned some names I didn't agree with you on.
I feel you.
I do agree with you on Russ. I don't think we're going to see Russell Westbrook not even win a championship in a finals. Rest of his career, it's not really going to be. Depends on where he lands. It's not going to be too much of his fault. Because I don't think he's going to land on a team that's
he's not going to land on a contender.
Yeah, because I think if he lands on a team that's going to be a contender, and then you pick up Russ, you already had kind of what you needed.
Yeah.
No disrespect, but that's just what it is. Fair. And I agree with you when you said it years ago when you were like, Russ, Leak's been saying the same thing. We've had these conversations, but it's a thin line. So my bad I went on a rant. But I just wanted to get that label straight where I do agree with you on Russ. I'm still going to defend Melo and AI.
I respect it.
I think, like I said, I think it was time. It was time 2 years ago. And
agreed.
I think
for what? Russ to retire? Calling for his retirement?
Oh no, I think it was time for Russ to get out of LA.
Oh, just get out of LA before he got there.
Before he got there.
You said 2 years ago, so I was like,
before he put on the jersey.
yeah, I was
like,
he can't be talking about the Lakers.
They should have immediately rerouted his flight.
Yeah. Should have never put that jersey.
They should have just put Hall of Fame on the back.
Should never put that jersey on.
How you sign and retire immediately to a new team?
It was just too detrimental, bro. It was too detrimental. I knew it was going to be detrimental to how he should be perceived, and yeah, and that's just because not all players are built the same. Yeah. We have to accept that. And play styles matter. And when LeBron asked for, I don't know if he asked for Russ or not. If he ever said that, it should have been complete. It should have been dismissed fast. Like we should have got that. Like, hey, nah.
Facts.
Should have got that out the way.
But here we are, 2 years later. 2 years later, and Russ's name has diminished greatly because of a situation that never was built for him to succeed. Never. And it ain't had to be like that. And so that's why I have my frustrations. And anybody who's competitive about anything would be angry being in that position, knowing the talent that they have in them and knowing the talent that they have shown and seeing how quickly it dissipated because you put on that jersey. Anybody would be angry. That's why I don't like how people are calling him cancerous or a vampire or that and the third. I think he tried. I really do think he tried. But I also think you can be angry at the fact that things aren't working the way you want them to work, and it's not going to. It's evident to you it's not going to work. Like I don't care. That's competitive spirit to me. Like it's one thing, and so calling him less of a man or all that in the third, cut that out, because that's not what that was. That's not what that was.
Yeah, I think we've always said that Brody got some competitive spirit, and that's the one thing we will always say, that he's gonna fight. So that's the biggest takeaway I didn't like about his image this whole time, is making it seem like he's doesn't have a great work ethic or something like that. I just think he was playing badly. Like that's all. Like all the personal stuff or whatever, it was like whatever. But on the court, just played like garbage, and it wasn't just him; it was the Lakers too. But at the end of the day, Russ, I don't care what jersey you got on, you should be hitting the side of the backboard. Like, consistently.
I agree
consistently. Like, at the end of the day, I can't defend him off that. I can't defend that.
I can't defend the amount of times he's missed layups.
There's a lot of disrespect that I can defend. Like, any NBA player. Kyrie from, like, a lot of... But the thing is, Kyrie's not hitting the side of the backboard. Like, so when he's putting up 27, 5, and 5 and winning situations, I can look at it and be like, we just said at the beginning, he'll get a lot of pass as long as any amount of talent.
Once again, Westbrook would have been loved in LA if he shot 35% from three. He would have been loved.
That's why he gets that's 70 to maybe 80% from me.
Like, if he had become a better decision maker, he would have won over the Laker fan base.
Either or. Better decision maker, better shooter. Either decide not to shoot it because you can't become a better shooter, or become a better shooter. Decide to become a better shooter. Boy, one or the other.
All right, let's talk about LeBron James.
Yes, now I can say something good. All right,
let's talk about LeBron James. Let's talk about him. He is the new all-time leading scorer versus Oklahoma City. He passed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar with a 38-point night.
38.
Now he is sitting at 38,390 points, where Kareem has 38,387 points. How do we want to...
LeBron James is out tonight, by the way.
How do we want to start this? That's unfortunate. That's the 8:30 game, too.
I know, definitely betting against them.
How do we want to talk about this? Let's just give him his flowers first. Let's give him his flowers.
LeBron James hit 38,000 plus points when he's 38, scoring 38 points to do so. It's kind of like written in stone that this is supposed to happen against this night. I'm gonna get to the hating at the end though. I got a little bit of hating for LeBron, but it's not that much. It's not that much. I promise. First of all, this is incredible. This is amazing.
Yeah.
This is the testament
I'm glad I got to see it.
to like appreciate this, people. Like, these are two things that we got to see in our lifetime in terms of individual things that I'm so grateful. Like, Bron getting the number one and then Kobe's last game
Yeah.
are like two games where I'm just going to be like, wow.
I was blessed to be
Like, I was
able to
alive
experience
during
that.
this
Yes.
time. I got to see all the post-game interviews.
Right.
Like, I got to listen to these guys talk.
Facts.
And then, granted, shutting down the game for half an hour to celebrate
Yeah,
and
that
then
was wild.
lose.
That was wild.
But I get it. I think they should have shut down the game for half an hour.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not mad at it. I think that it should have been celebrated. If I was Bron, you gonna shut down the reason y'all shut down the game for half an hour, because I gotta go back to the locker room and put on my fit. Like, you know, serious. Like, this is all about me. Quick question though. Y'all know if Draymond was at that game or not?
He wasn't.
He wasn't.
I'm so glad he
Liar.
was not at that game.
Liar. I wanted him to be at that game. So
I think I think Steph and them shut that down, bro. They was
It's
like,
instantly
so
that.
glad he
You
was
saw
not at
the
that game,
the Iggy like GIF when he was on
Yes,
the sideline.
yes,
Yeah.
he was like,
I
nah,
agree
Go look it up.
I agree with
nah,
Iggy.
they was
I
like,
can't
nah,
I can't even describe it or make the motion. And I'm like,
It was like, nah, bro.
I agree with Iggy too.
We
No,
one game over 500 right now. Stay right here in the Bay.
yeah, facts. Stay in
Yeah.
the gym.
Stay in the gym. Yeah, like this is definitely. I made it a point. I was watching this whole game. Of course, I was watching this game. They were playing OKC on primetime television, and I had two reasons to
a lot
watch
of those, dude.
They don't get a lot of those, man. We don't get a lot of those.
I don't think that was scheduled at the beginning of the
It
year.
wasn't. No, God,
It
no.
wasn't.
No. Once they started figuring out like where the number's gonna fit, every Laker game was gonna be up for
Yeah, like literally
for
every
ESPN,
single last
TNT.
one.
So
They were hoping it was going to be today, honestly.
yeah, they wanted to be TNT wanted to be the Bucks game.
Yeah, I thought they wanted the Bucks game.
Charles wanted to be the Bucks game. ESPN wanted to be this game.
Of course, they wanted it to be this game. I'm so glad it wasn't this one.
But yeah, I had two reasons to watch. I was going to see LeBron beat the record. And I knew he was going to be the record that night. When he walked in with the suit, I said, "Oh, this is happening."
He was going for
Yeah.
it.
This was
The
happening.
If
suit
nothing
was
else, he
clean.
was going to go for it.
This was
I be
happening.
making fun of Bron
It was gonna be a
Fitz
38
'cause,
shot night.
My
you
man
know,
was serious.
They be up in the air sometimes. That suit was something different, boy.
He was
I'm
ready. He
telling
was
you.
mentally. He was mentally
I don't know
ready.
what he was
He understood
wearing.
the assignment.
And
He made it.
and so then then of course the other reason was, oh, my boys get to play on prime time. Let's see how they look. Let's see how they they show up. And Shea showed up. They all showed
You have a
up
bright
pretty well.
future.
So but yeah, LeBron doing this with 38 points. I was glad, yo. I was glad they got to be the part of it, to see it. People always talk about their unbreakable records. And it's like the things that should not happen, the things that people shouldn't see or we won't ever see.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I always want to
I hate it when people say that. I'm like, break it now then. Like, get rid of it. I'm glad he got it. I don't think we have a lot of controversial statements about LeBron James. But honestly, there's not, as a person, I don't think there's someone less deserving or,
No, like as an individual,
or whatever.
man.
I think he's deserving as a player and as what he's been able to show on the court.
the face of the NBA. And
The biggest compliment you can give LeBron James is he had unrealistic expectations his entire career, and
he
exceeded
surpassed
them
them.
Yeah.
Surpassed
by
them.
all measurements.
Yeah.
Like, that's the biggest compliment you can give him, honestly.
We asked him to be the next Michael Jordan, and he came in.
He's like, I'm the next LeBron James.
And I'm the next LeBron James,
Next Tom
and
Brady.
he makes that Jordan conversation debatable. You know, and some don't want to debate it, but he makes that debatable. We weren't debating anybody before LeBron got drafted. We weren't debating anyone
Kobe was starting to
Yeah,
creep.
I was about to say Kobe
was
even-
creeping.
Well, I think
Before the
difference
draft?
is
Before
Before LeBron got drafted?
we weren't
Before
debating.
LeBron got drafted, we
that
were
was-
not debating.
in 02.
Nah.
not
But no, I
debating
think it was
Kobe.
comparisons, and
It was
not,
comparison,
and
but
that
it wasn't
because
a
he didn't have
debate.
enough years in
Yeah.
the league.
Right,
You gotta
right.
remember,
He was creeping.
Kobe couldn't play like the first 2 years in the league because he was just a young guy in his
Yeah.
whole system. But that's not me defending that. I'm just saying we got one other comparison, but that was later.
Yeah.
Right. And so because of, like, no one was being put in a conversation in terms of GOAT yet with Michael Jordan when he was coming out of high school. We're 20 years later, and now look at us. We're like, all right, we are fighting. I still go to the barbershop, and it's still the number one conversation. Same conversation, same argument. Jordan Braun, and now here I am fighting in the barbershop before I get a cut. Like, it's the way it's going to be forever now, and that's because he had to show up. He had to show up and average 26 over a 20-year span. Yeah, average 30 at age 38.
It's ridiculous.
Like, come on, dog.
I wouldn't have did it.
Like, I can't hate on a guy like that too. I can't. Like,
I mean, I think it's hard, but I can figure out like some ways to hate on anybody.
That is true.
I just can't hate on this. Like, this is one of those things where I'm one of those guys who really hate unbreakable things. But seeing LeBron James looking like he could play 5 more years, like, honestly, he could play into both sons getting to the NBA.
Yeah.
I thought it was ridiculous when we were talking about this 5 years ago.
Yeah, it's real.
But he probably is going to play till at least Bronny gets to the league.
Yeah. We're looking at a record that's potentially going to be...
It's going to be 40-something K.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's getting there.
This is going to be... Like, I thought John Stockton's assist record was going to be the most untouchable, like, NBA record. This points record...
But yeah, this is going to be...
From the guy who was never the best scorer ever in the league or anything like that, I always gave respects in terms of, like, putting the ball into the rim. That's a bucket. Period. How you get the bucket... That's a debate.
Yeah.
In terms of scoring.
If you still
but this guy was still putting the ball through the hoop.
Yeah, if I'm 38 and you still can't stop me from getting the ball,
I don't care how I'm doing it. And it's efficient.
Tell you. I don't know what to tell you.
Y'all might get tired of these layups and dunks because they're not that sexy all the time. You want to see a crossover or step back nowadays. I get it. Layup.
Free throws?
Step. Yep. Free. But, nah, we ain't gonna talk about the free throws.
He get to the line though.
So?
Does he?
He gets there.
Only about 4 times a night.
But why do you think that? I think he just gave up.
6, actually.
He did give up.
Yeah. Well, he was like, I'm not going to crack 70% from this line.
He's at 76, man. Stop it.
Because he starts shooting way less from the line. He's not taking 9 to 10 free throws a game.
73% shooter in his career.
Hey, man. Maybe, nah. So I'm just thinking about like 4 core years of him just shooting like 68% then.
He only had one. Oh yeah.
I was about to say, I'm not
These
tripping.
are flowers. These are flowers.
I'm not tripping.
These are
he had
flowers.
20-year career. There's at least like 4 of them that he was shooting like 60%.
Yeah, his first 3 years in LA, he shot 66, 69, 68.
All right, so yeah. Also, with my team, that's why I'm thinking that he just got awful.
That's
yeah.
why.
So these are.
I watched him lose games off. We're praising.
Flowers.
We're praising. Yeah, this is I actually hope, and I think this is going to be an untouchable record. Not just in the basketball, but like one of those records that every sport is gonna look at like, oh no, he did what? I don't think there's anybody ever that's gonna be able to do that. Because at the end of the day, we're gonna say what? You're gonna have to average at least 25 points per game for the next 25 years.
Yep.
If you want to get close.
Yep.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yep.
The only person that we can even think of in the league right now who could possibly even debate getting anywhere near that is Luka. He ain't gonna play that long. He said it already. He don't want to be in the league for 20 years.
Facts.
He said 15 looked a long time. So, this is the long
Luka's in it for the good time, not a long time.
Oh, for sure. He's trying to get like 2-3 chips and get out. Like,
and so with that, like him doing this only adds to the conversations that we are having everywhere.
It doesn't for me. But
it does. It has to be.
It doesn't.
Like add to what, the GOAT debate?
It has to add.
It doesn't.
I think everything that happens has to add.
Anything
like,
that happens has to. You have to weigh everything.
Yeah.
So for you to say,
I weigh everything, but once again, y'all already
you can
heard
say
me
it didn't move the needle, but it should have shifted some weight somewhat.
Like y'all have heard me say before, like longevity doesn't matter as much to me. So that's always been my thing.
I understand.
If it doesn't,
I
it
understand,
matters, but not to the extent
to the GOAT debate.
Yeah,
to the
GOAT
best debate. Because
give me I know this is going to be a bad question. Give me a percentage of how much it weighs.
Stop! No, please don't. No, we're not going to do this.
How much does it weigh? What's your rubric
on this segment of bad math?
Next topic, please.
So
what's your rubric on your GOAT debate?
So my rubric is
because for those who don't know, Brian's GOAT is Magic Johnson.
Yep. So my
which is laughable.
It's not, but whatever.
Go ahead.
Whatever. It's not. But whatever.
Top, you can say top 5.
Top 3, you could easily to me, it's top 3, and I don't think there's a debate there. But that's a whole different discussion.
I'm not going to discuss it. I disagree. I respect it.
So my rubric would break down. It would be 25% your peak, like who you were at the peak of your game. 10% longevity. So what am I at? 35. Make sure I do my math right.
I would say, man, you got 65% of something left. That's a lot of percent.
So 65%.
What if your peak included longevity? What if you had a really long
So that's
peak?
the reason longevity doesn't matter to me. Because when we're talking about the GOAT debate, all of the GOATs have 10 to 15 years.
I'm about to say, you got to be doing this for 15 years.
Like there's nobody in the conversation that has 5 years of peak. Right. Like you did it for at least a decade.
Right.
So it's like, that's why longevity to me is like if LeBron, so, and this is just my kind of argument to like the whole longevity thing, right? If LeBron had tore his Achilles at the beginning of the season, would it lessen his GOAT debate?
No.
Then like, how is him just staying healthy on a losing team?
Strengthen it.
Like that to me is like, it's just weird.
Because that's hard.
I mean, it's hard, but like,
I think it's because it's the grand scheme of it all, the accomplishment of it all.
The accomplishment's great.
The fact that not all of these buckets came in the bad years.
Yeah.
Like, this is an accomplishment for all the good years, all the bad years. And I agree. I think longevity is the smallest percentage that you could possibly give to the GOAT debate. Simply because they better all been doing it for 10, 15 years, like you said, B. But I think when you hit certain milestones, it does aid your case.
The longevity
For
makes
example,
certain milestones impressive.
like Kareem's, like a lot of people say, oh, Kareem should be thrown in. We've all heard this. Kareem should be thrown more into the GOAT debate. And what was the biggest argument of that? He was the number one scoring leader. And
that was never my argument for Kareem.
I understand that, but that's why I said we have to take in some kind of weight. And that's why we were kind of confused when you were like, it didn't do anything for you.
Yeah.
Because it didn't move how I really feel about my top three personally. But I did like say, okay, more eggs in the basket for LeBron. It just, they didn't overtake the next basket.
Yeah. So where am I still doing my rubric?
Yeah, you're doing your rubric right now. You're at 65% left.
65%. So I would say 25% is your impact on the game of basketball itself.
Okay.
Like, did you change the culture? Did you change the way the game is played? Like, what is the impact you left on the game when you walked away?
So that's 40% left.
I would say 20% is actually winning. How many chips did you win? How many times did you get there?
Okay.
And then the other 20% is how did you actually impact others around you? Like, and that is the one that always...
I was about to say, that's way too much percentage right there. That was the one.
How do you split your getting there championship and your winning championship?
So once again, if we're talking GOAT debate, like we're not having a discussion about anybody that doesn't have less than minimum 4 at this point. So like you got there plenty of times.
Right.
Now it comes down to having to use context a little bit, like who did you play? What was your route? Like that becomes a whole different discussion of like what championships matter more to you. And once again, we can all debate that till we're blue in the face. That's just my rubric for how I look at it. Like to me, Magic Johnson's championships are very heavily weighted because he played against another team that could be considered as the greatest team of all time for 3 of them. Yeah. Like you went toe to toe with maybe the greatest team of all time.
That was the greatest rivalry in sports, in my opinion, in sports.
Facts. So like those championships matter a little bit more to me. And then even the ones, like even the other ones you won, like you beat Dr. J and Moses Malone. Like, or no, Moses Malone wasn't on the team. So you beat Dr. J and his mob. Like, he doesn't have a single like weak title in his resume. Like the ones he even lost are like you lost to.
He's 5-3?
5-4. 5-4.
But like you lost to the Bulls.
You lost to the Bulls. You lost to MJ, Bird.
What, Pistons,
and Dr. J. Like those are your losses. Yeah. Like, and all those teams could make an argument that they're one of the top 10 to 15 greatest teams of all time. Like Magic's, like his finals resume to me is just very strong in that case. Like I would argue it's almost stronger than MJ's finals resume because MJ didn't play any team you would ever consider the greatest of all time in the finals.
My counter to that one specific point is what I say all the time about anybody winning.
Yeah.
You don't choose who you play. So
we're splitting hairs here.
Why I can say, like, I get what you're saying in terms of, like, look at the resume of wins and who he's gonna beat. I can't sit here and say MJ or somebody else wouldn't have been able to beat him if they matched up against him. So I can't say generally we might have that case for losing. Mm-hmm. So like if you lose one, it's like, oh, this team would have be that team that you lost to. We have that argument. That's not always the case either. Mm. But I do understand your point. He has a Hall of Fame GOAT lineup of NBA championship rings. That 6 for 6 is still hard to beat, though.
Oh, no, it's crazy.
Like
once again, this is why I don't actually like get into great debates about MJ and Magic and LeBron, because like we're literally splitting hairs of hairs. Right. Like we're talking about the 1% of the 1%.
You got to nitpick though. You got to on this.
Right, and that's why I asked about the rubric, because that's the one thing that the barbershop doesn't do.
Yeah.
The barbershop does not ask you a rubric. And so when you start saying certain things, they're like, why did you bring that up? Or why does that matter? That don't matter. He got this. He went 12 times. I'm like, fam.
Like, bro, you asked me
what's
one
the criteria?
Without context.
What's the criteria?
You're missing the point.
You sit down for a fade, so who's your GOAT, huh? I'm like, bro, what? Ain't asked me how my day was and nothing. You ain't asked me if I watched the game last night. So I understand what you're talking about. You just asked me who I think the greatest basketball player is.
Shout out to Derek. I go in there. I went in there the last time. It was right before Bron's about to break the record. Like maybe I think he had it was like 2 games before. Mm-hmm. I went in there, sitting there, about to go get a cut. They're already having the conversation. They're already talking. He looks at me, he said, "Oh, look at this Bron fan. Look at this Bron." He's pointing at me. I'm like, I'm the furthest from a Bron fan.
You walked in the door at the wrong time. You the Bron fan now. You the op.
I'm a Bron.
Greg walked in the door and looked behind him like, who is it?
Yeah,
it's a mirror. It's a mirror. I looked at myself. I'm like, me? Like, what are we talking about? And the only reason I did that, only way he does that is because I've always added context to LeBron's line of argument to properly say, like,
even if you don't agree, just like you should think about it like this.
I'm like,
it's gonna be a quality argument.
Like, my guy is Jordan.
Don't just slander this guy.
Let's get it straight. My guy is Jordan, but let's not discount the fact that he's done X, Y, and Z, and this is about to happen. Like, we have to weigh this, like,
absolutely,
and we have to weigh it properly. Like, and so I think longevity. It shouldn't be weighed as heavy as everything else. It should probably be the least in terms of on my rubric. But it's like anything else when you grading something. If it's not just a 100 anymore, like this is past 100.
Yeah,
like,
like you got to do something.
I feel like he has a 215 in this spot, and so he's breaking this past, and so now he's making longevity be weighed a little heavier just by doing what he's doing at a consistent basis. And you can say losing all that in the third. I'll say context matters. Fair. Just like I would say Michael Jordan played with guys that was on coke in his first 3 seasons and managed to get them to the playoffs after being injured when they were 10 games out of it?
Yeah, it was great.
Like, fam, had no business in the playoffs and didn't go on to the playoffs to play Bird and give him 63. Fam, don't like context matters.
Context matters.
So
pretty sure he played with people on coke past those years too.
Huh?
He played with people on coke past those years.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Which is why we gotta respect what Jordan was doing. People out here talking about
act like the Bulls were the only ones doing coke.
That's what I'm saying. No, I think it was everybody. It was,
it was a league thing.
It was a league thing.
Oh, but his guys were less talented doing coke. Obviously.
Fair.
They couldn't shake it off.
They couldn't shake off the coke right.
Chicago coke was different. It was different.
I mean, I ain't never been to Chicago. Let me chill.
I don't know. I've seen a lot of movies. It's probably I would just say it's different. I'm about to Chicago. Yeah.
Sure.
Like, I don't know nothing about Chicago.
If there was places where I had to pick their coke was different, it would be on the list.
Yeah.
Baltimore.
Wasn't like Capone from Chicago?
I think so. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's where he set up his empire. I don't know if that's where he's from.
As long as his empire was there, yeah.
The important.
So they doing, they move different out there.
Yeah.
So all in all, like LeBron's like longevity, even into this moment, I think he's forcing us to weigh it heavier.
It's amazing.
He's forcing us to do that, and by some chance, this man ends up in another NBA Finals and wins one. Then have mercy. It's gonna be
toxic.
It's an uphill fight for everybody else that's before this era, because the conversation's already being had that this is the most talented version of the league we have ever seen.
Individually, most
talented we've ever seen.
It's not supposed to be though, but yeah, I agree.
It's evolution.
So they're gonna say he played against tougher competition the entire time, or tougher, and that's where I've always fought that. Like,
more talented individuals.
more talented individuals.
Tougher competition is two
but
different
tougher
things.
competition, I'm not willing to roll with. Some of
Two
the
different
teams
things.
back then, if they transferred to this era, would give some.
Man, Bird and them would have waxed that Eastern Conference.
Would have gave y'all some work,
It's just
dog.
like the chemistry,
Would've
the
gave
camaraderie,
y'all
the
some
teamwork of teams. It's crazy to say. It was so much different back then that, like, yeah, you can say, like, as an individual, yes, the NBA talent on average is far greater than what it was 30 years ago, on average as an individual. But if you're talking about in terms of team play and success in basketball, like as a sport, like, we've grown, but yeah, there's still teams in the 80s that would, even out of context, not get blown out of the water by today's NBA teams. They'll probably still lose because play style. All these threes is going to get anybody out.
Yeah.
But to be able to even just step on the floor with no translation
yeah,
and be able to hang around,
yeah.
and that's the thing about this all. And then,
I think Larry Bird would have a field day. I'm sorry. He'll see like 3 guys pull up from 3. He'll be like,
Y'all can do
"You
that?" Dang.
since I said no translation, bro, my biggest
That's
thing
allowed?
is like, nah, I don't think
We
it's gonna
do
be
that
happening like that. I don't think he's gonna be getting them off that fast like that.
Hey, yo, I don't know. Those be the easiest buckets he's ever
Off
seen,
the
bro.
dribble.
them trail threes. Like, just think about Larry Bird in
with
a
Lou
trail
Dort
three
on you,
situation.
like you just got Lou Dort on him that night.
6'5", Bird 6'10".
It doesn't matter. He didn't translate to the game. That's what I was saying. We're creating a whole different point. I'm just saying he woke up one day, it was the 80s. He woke up the next day, it was 2023, and he had to play a basketball game against OKC. They gonna lose.
It might take.
They're going to lose.
It would take one game for him to figure it out. He'd be like, "Oh, these guys are a little bit quicker, a little bit faster."
I can say this. I ain't gonna say one game, but after a series, they should start winning games.
Yeah.
Like after a series, Celtics, y'all gotta pull out at least. Don't get swept.
You know what? Honestly, it would matter. It would be who the coach is, if the coach realizes what's happening.
Right.
If the coach realizes, like, "Hey, shoot, they're running pick and rolls and they're shooting a lot of threes.
Shoot it.
Maybe we should try that." Hey, Bird, go stand in that corner.
They ain't
But
got,
you're not
They
gonna
got
adjust
no
that
one-
fast on the fly.
they ain't got no one holding down this low block.
Shoot it.
Maybe we need to do something about that.
I don't think we can play McHale and Parrish at the same time
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
we should.
Yeah, we're asking for
Parrish, have a seat. Have a seat real quick. Have a seat.
we're asking for generations of on-court adjustments.
Like you would have 2 types of coaches in that instance who would like transfer. There'll be the one coach who would be like, "Oh, okay, this is innovative. Let me try this." Then you have the other coaches like,
they
"This
cheating.
is disrespectful to
They
basketball.
cheating.
What is
This
this?
is not right."
This isn't basketball."
It's a team from the 80s. They gonna come out and say something racist. Celtics like, that's why we should never let 5 of them get on the court together.
Wait, I got fined? Why?
Should have stopped this in the 60s.
I thought Magic and them were the only ones that did that.
Oh my God.
Ooh-wee.
So
What a turn.
shout out to LeBron, dog. Shout out to LeBron.
LeBron, amazing accomplishment,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah,
Celebrations
from
to you.
5 black men not being allowed to share a floor together at the same time to LeBron James passing another black man, a couple of black men actually, because now
Yeah.
top 5's all black men. I think
Who's the one white player that's in that conversation?
of top 5 scoring leaders.
Yeah, it's
Before
Dirk.
it was Dirk.
It was Dirk.
It was
Okay.
Dirk.
Of
Does he
what?
count?
What
Dirk
is he like
all-time-
7th, right?
Dirk is
Six.
number 6.
He's 6?
Yeah.
Oh, so he was 5. So what is Jordan, Bean, Moses,
No, Karl Malone. Karl Malone.
oh yeah, Carl,
Kareem,
excuse me.
And LeBron.
Kareem and then LeBron.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dang, I didn't even want to say Carl.
Then it's Will.
Moses.
It's Will.
Moses didn't even shoot.
I just don't want to give Carl no credit. Hey, that's the one like
who's
NBA.
I'm trying to round out the attendance.
Oh, Will at 7, Shaq at 8, Melo at 9. Shout out to
crazy.
Melo.
That
10,
ain't crazy, he's a
Moses
bucket.
Malone.
The bucket.
One white guy and he's not from America.
Yeah, that sound about right. Sound about right. The greatest European ever so far.
Quality. Yeah.
It's so far, bro. I just gotta give Jokic like 5 more years. Give Giannis like a couple
One
more
ring
years.
gonna change that conversation quick.
Yeah, I would say who if Giannis get another one
Giannis
quick.
probably. I ain't gonna lie. Giannis might have it now.
But both of them are gonna pass Dirk, honestly, in my opinion, in terms of best Europeans. Just the way.
You don't think Giannis already passed him? 2 MVPs, Defensive Player of the Year, and a title.
Oh yeah, I think personally I'm gonna put him over there,
Oh,
but
okay.
his
I was
career's
wondering.
not done,
feel
so I just don't want to snatch this best European ever from Dirk and give it to a 27-year-old right now.
I will.
I will.
Like sometimes it is what it is, bro.
I respect it.
And honestly,
When the freshmen walk in the gym and give you 30, sometimes you just gotta say, "Hey, it's not my team no more."
I respect it.
I don't know how many in terms of. I don't know how many pods ago it was, but I definitely said when Giannis retires, We're having a GOAT conversation.
Yeah,
It's possible.
We're having a GOAT conversation, man.
It's possible.
But yeah, shout out to LeBron. We'll save our real GOAT debate for another day. We
big.
need to do it.
We do.
We really need to do it.
We don't need to. We're just all gonna butt heads.
That would be fun.
Yeah, we need to. As long as we understand that. As long as we walk into there and understand that my list is right, then we can get this started whenever.
You gonna say Kobe, and I'm just gonna be like, all right.
He said Magic.
Okay.
Guys, not
Sorry.
I'm just saying.
Next topic.
I'm sorry. I picked the greatest leader from the greatest era of the
next
NBA.
topic.
Boo. Greatest leader. So boring.
I mean, it's not like he didn't average 21 and a 13.
You're gonna have to stop because I'm about to slander Magic, and I don't want to. But I'd have ran him self-defense.
What's the slander? He got
Shout out to
HIV?
the All-Stars.
Is that the slander?
That wasn't
2023
it though. That's the
All-Stars.
crazy part.
Shout out to the
slander.
2023 All-Stars. The 2023 All-Stars have been announced. Starters, Kyrie. Well, this has to change. I wonder how that works. He's just
it's
a
a
Western
player
guy.
pool,
yeah,
so
it's
it
a
doesn't
player
Oh,
pool.
okay,
matter.
okay.
Since they changed it years ago.
Okay, thank God. Because I thought about that for a moment. So
You got
this-
12 West
I
and
thought
3
about it too
East.
for a quick second.
Yeah,
I was like, has that ever happened though, where it was like an Eastern Conference, Western Conference All-Star who got traded right before the All-Star?
It's happened before, but like I don't know what happened with it.
Okay, I'll have to do some research.
I would imagine that since you did your work in the West, you would still represent the West.
Fair.
will he still be a starter?
He should be, yeah.
Oh yeah, Steph is out.
Yeah.
So yeah. Here's the
And
All-Stars.
since you drive, he was going to be a starter anyway.
Right.
It's just 10 starters.
He's
period.
going to be a starter no matter
Right.
what.
I'm sorry. Forgive me.
The boy getting old.
I am. That hit hurt, bro. Kyrie Irving, Donovan Mitchell, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Kevin Durant, Jason Tatum are the 5 voted in at the time Eastern Conference starters. Western Conference was Steph Curry, Luka Doncic, Nikola Jokic, LeBron James, Zion Williamson. Reserves: Joel Embiid, DeMar DeRozan, Jaylen Brown, Bam Adebayo, Drew Holiday, Julius Randle, Tyrese Halliburton. Reserves for the West: John Morant, Domantas Sabonis, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Paul George, Damian Lillard, Lauri Markkanen, Jaren Jackson Jr. And because of injuries, Minnesota's Anthony Edwards, Raptors' Pascal Siakam, and Sacramento Kings guard De'Aaron Fox would be replacements for Stephen Curry, Kevin Durant, and Zion Williamson. And so, how do we feel? Who got snubbed? Are we okay with this?
Yeah, I'm straight with it. You want to go get 2 Kings players like initially, and De'Aaron got in off of the injury. So I don't really got no issue with it. I can't really see anybody that I can imagine off rip in my head that really got snubbed. Like Anthony Davis played how many games this year? So
Just as many as Jaren Jackson.
Jaren Jackson isn't he?
Yeah. I'm sorry.
That was a lot of
Did
names.
Paul George get in as a front court or a backcourt player? Because if he got in as a backcourt, De'Aaron should have got it. Sorry.
You said Paul George.
If he got in as a front court or did he get in as a front court or backcourt player? Because if he got in as a backcourt player, De'Aaron should have got that.
I'm not sure. I thought he's.
I don't know. Like, I don't know exactly how the
He's just
voting
a
went.
wing, and I hate the way they do it.
Exactly.
Wings are confusing.
Like, if he got in as a front court player, I ain't gonna argue but so much. But if he got in as a backcourt
I
player,
thought he got in as a front court. He's
De'Aaron
listed
shoulda
as
got
a
it.
forward.
okay,
So yeah, I assume he was front court.
De'Aaron should have got it then if it was a backcourt conversation though. And yeah, Jaren Jackson over Anthony Davis is kind of just interesting to me.
It's because the Grizzlies have done more winning. Jaren Jackson, they're gonna try to push this defensive player of the year on him anyway, so he has to be an all-star. I don't know how many defensive player of the years weren't all-stars. That's an interesting thought. Yeah, but that's the one name that you mentioned. I didn't even realize that I skipped over his name.
Like, so yeah, Jaren Jackson's played 38 games this year. AD has played 32.
6 more games, and yeah, but the record speaks for itself, though. That's why I wouldn't even.
But they were winning without him. Like, it wasn't like he came and elevated them to winning. Like,
If I had to take one or the other,
I feel you.
yeah, I'm gonna take the second place
I would take the guy who's averaging 26 and 13 over the guy who's averaging 16 and 10.
Generally, I always said that too. Took the same argument with that Steve Nash MVP, but
That's
that's all I'm saying is I try
You're
to cross
supposed
over
to be
to the other
winning when
side.
you're the MVP, though.
You're supposed to be winning when you're an all-star. I don't care. Like, I honestly think there's a certain amount of empty numbers that can go into an all-star, but like, if I had to pick the guy who's maybe has less numbers, but an absurd more amount of winning, I think it's easy to choose.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I don't think I got too many reservations about all of this.
You're not upset James Harden not an All-Star?
I was averaging 21 and 10,
21 and 10,
21 and
like
11. I was upset. I think
You don't think he's been better than Tyrese Halliburton?
I think what Tyrese Halliburton is doing did kind of shock some people. I don't know. I think I'm more so disappointed with how the coaches viewed it when they voted for Halliburton the way they did. But I also understand he's being treated as a one option, and I don't know what happened with the rest of the voting. That's what my question would be. The Drew Holiday situation.
Yeah, I was about to say I would have picked Tyrese Halliburton over
the one I would debate would probably be DeMar DeRozan. Because Chicago sucks. Like, I don't care what anyone says. Like,
I mean, they're ahead of Indiana.
Chicago sucks.
They're ahead of Indiana.
But
like
I think Tyrese Halliburton
gets
the young player rising and just showing.
So he's ascending.
He gets that Darius Garland card, right? Okay.
But Garland was a playoff team. The Cavs were a playoff team last year.
God dang.
Yeah, but I was just saying for most of the year, Tyrese Halliburton was leading the league in assists. He's going to be an all-star. Like, if you're statistically leading the league in assists and you're averaging almost 20 a game.
But isn't that what James Harden's doing?
But yeah, you're in your prime. That's why it's a voting thing, though. If you're asking me specifically, do I think Tyrese Halliburton
it's just
as a player,
Tyrese Halliburton's ascending?
Yeah,
essentially.
I think it was that moment he had against the Knicks.
I felt like
when they were like, he's not going to be an all-star. Yeah, I think he's
okay.
He got the politics card. Okay. I think the guy that
not saying he didn't deserve it. Like you got the numbers to make a case for it, but
I'm not gonna argue that.
Your team sucks too. So
like it's interesting, like because you know who. You know who was in this exact same situation a couple years ago, and it's starting to fall out of favor with people? Trae Young.
Well, he's falling out of favor with people for a different reason.
Because he's not winning.
No, he's not winning with everything that's been catered to him.
Like that's what I'm saying though. Yeah. Like,
but Tyrese just got there.
But my point is like that was Trae Young. He just got there.
When Trae Young got there, immediately everything started to be catered to him.
So it was,
and he was drafted. At what he went 5? Yeah. It was a pick swap or something with him and Lucas, so I don't really remember. He was top 5 pick. So you were coming out of college expecting these keys. That's why I say context and situations matter. So yeah, people are gonna look at Trae Young like, because we're expecting you to do this and uphold it and elevate the team. Yeah. Tyrese, I ain't gonna front. I expect you to be good. Even when I saw you with the Kings, I was like, oh, he's better than I thought. I still ain't think you're gonna be this good this quick. So I think that's the difference, but I also think it's a personality thing, and I think people couldn't wait to treat Trae Young like a villain or something like that. Now, granted, you might invite some of this yourself, Trey, but I think some people were like, oh, no, I can't wait for him to miss or something like that.
To fall flat.
Yeah. Just praying for his downfall.
Like I said, once again, I think it's something we do a lot with, especially younger players. Like, we ascend them, and like I said, we're happy that they finally kind of hit the production that we want to see from them. So we kind of like
rush them into that.
We rush them into that like conversation. And granted, I'm not saying Tyrese Halliburton is going to fall flat or this is the end for him or anything. It's just like I've seen this happen to a lot of guys. And then even if Tyrese, like, there's a good chance next season Tyrese averages 20 and 11 again, and he doesn't make the All-Star game. Like, that doesn't mean he's became a worse player. It doesn't mean he became a better player. It's just like
something else might have just happened that year.
Something just like that. Yeah. James Harden just makes it next year just because he's also averaging 22 and 11. Like, that's
somebody got to not make it. Yeah, exactly. Somebody got to stay home.
Yeah. It's just a weird
and that's why I'm not that so keen on fighting for James Harden in that regard.
Because Jimmy Butler didn't make it.
Like, even Trae Young this year had a statistical conversation. He's averaging like 27 and 9. Like,
right. And that's with his poor shooting splits, why he played a huge factor.
Career low.
But I think in terms of James Harden, I get it. I get his frustration. I get feeling snubbed, and you can label it as a snub, but I can understand how Tyrese Halliburton got that spot at the same time too.
Yeah.
The only other name, because I've always wondered how you got 2 Sacramento Kings players, and I know it's because of guard, so it's guard for guard. Mm-hmm. I would have liked to possibly have seen Aaron Gordon get some kind of love because Aaron Gordon is playing really, really, really well.
Amazing.
For Denver, and he's a huge reason why they're in the 1 seed right now. Not more than Jokic, so I want to get that mixed.
But Gordon is playing the best basketball of his career.
The best basketball of his career.
He's been hooping.
And I wanted him to get some kind of recognition for that.
It's nice to see him kind of finally be put into the role that's assigned for him. Like last couple of years without Murray and Michael Porter Jr. going in and out, like he had to kind of be the number 2. Like now he's able to fully be at worst the 3. Most of the time the 4 guy. Yeah. And he's able to just be the utility, switch everything defender, rebound, cut hard, knock down shots when you're open. Like he's able to do focus on doing so many other little things well that has elevated his game significantly. So I'm actually happy for him.
Me too. I think when they traded for him, I was very much in on it because when they lost Jeremy Grant, like I don't know who they can replace with this guy because Jeremy Grant was doing some very productive things for him. And then they went and got Aaron Gordon. Said, "Oh, that'll do. That'll work. We're fine, I guess. All right, cool." So it's really good to see from that regard. But to the newcomers, the first years, the Tyrese Halliburtons, the Lauri Markkanens, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who else? That's it. Oh, of course, Jaren Jackson, Anthony Edwards, Paul, De'Aaron Fox. Excuse me. Congrats, bro. Congrats. Yep. Y'all got recognition that I think it was deserving. You know, I will never say, y'all don't belong, because even to be considered, y'all belong to some regard. And so, if your coaches are saying that, I have to respect that. So, yeah. But I'm not gonna watch this game for real. Let's get to it. Steph not playing. KD not playing.
Kyrie might not play.
Why Kyrie
Zion not playing.
What do you mean?
Why wouldn't Kyrie play?
What do you mean? Like that's always up in the question. It's an all-star game. I was just thinking simply. I was thinking about all the people who got traded, especially in new situations. Kyrie did have like a slight injury, and it wasn't like a major thing that would sideline several games. But I could see him saying like, "Nah, I'm just good." I'm not sure if
Luka's still gonna play because he hasn't come back.
I don't think he's playing. I don't think he's playing.
And I don't know.
I don't think they've announced it.
And we're not even sure if LeBron's playing.
LeBron's hurt right now.
So guess what we're about to watch, y'all?
Bro, it's
the new era.
We're about to watch
the new era.
The Rising Stars game part 2. That's what we're about to watch, man.
It's the new era.
Nah,
it's their time, baby. It's their time.
Nah, fam.
Without Zion, though.
Nah, fam.
Gee, so I'm just gonna get a whole lot of Julius Randle,
Ja Morant,
right to
baby.
lefts. Like that's all I'm gonna get. Just a whole lot of Julius Randle,
Ja Morant,
baby. Right to lefts and spin
That's what
moves.
you're gonna get, bro.
Come on, John's gonna try to put it between his legs at some point.
I don't think so, bro. Like this is how I feel, bro. I feel like Ja is one of those like in-game dunkers and not like a show-offer dunker, and he's the type to be in an all-star game, nobody around him, everybody in the middle of the game sit down at the 3-point line and wait for him to dunk, and he'll lay the ball up. Like I honestly think he's just not
that big a troll.
I honestly, when it comes to his dunking ability, it's gonna be one of the things. I think either he's going to do something we haven't seen somebody do in a while, and then we would have just been like, why didn't you do the all-star, the dunk contest? That's going to be our first reaction. It always is. Somebody always does something crazy in an all-star game, and it's like, the dunk contest was weak.
I won't argue. Fair enough.
It's either going to be that, or it's going to be him trolling. And him just like, I'm not doing anything special of a dunk. He might dunk it like hard or something, but I don't think he's going to East bed.
Fair enough.
Keith told us it's time, so we gotta get out of here, y'all.
We run out of space.
No, we don't.
You got 15 minutes.
I was saying we run out of space. If Keith said it, that means like we probably actually.
Yeah, we've been cooking.
It's gonna be a long one.
But we'll be back. We'll be back very soon. We're gonna have some different conversations around some of these teams that looks new. That looks brand new to us. Looks brand new to y'all. And give y'all our best thoughts in terms of who are the top 10 players so far this season. After everything's shaked out. Favorites, sleepers, all that in there. You can expect to hear us after the All-Star break. They're gonna have to tell me what happened because I'm not gonna watch it, bro. I'm not gonna watch it.
He's
Not
definitely
gonna watch the dunk contest, 3-point, nothing.
Nothing.
All of it. All of it looks not entertaining to
He's
me.
gonna watch something. Don't worry.
Not entertaining to me.
Wild.
You gonna have something on while you play 2K in the background. Something's gonna be
sure.
on.
Greg would rather play it on 2K at this point.
Tell me. All right, y'all. We out of here. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. As always, eat, sleep, breathe the game. Be safe. Be out. I gotta get up. My back is killing me.
Like currently, the Nets are in like 5th seed, right? Yeah. So all I'm just saying,
go Birds.
Hypothetically,
the mugs are falling to the plane.
I'm not wrong yet. I'm just not wrong yet.